Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day, another month in this October edition of 30 NSG. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the email that went out for Epic Games. Tim Sweeney sent the following Epic employees this email. We're going to read through the email, and I'm going to kind of like break it down and the way I feel, the way it's said. We're going to talk about Rockstar Games. We're in the month of October. October is a big month where usually Rockstar makes announcements or says things in the past, or puts out trailers. And because Grand Theft Auto 6 is on that end, you know, it's the rumbling is starting to flow more and more with people's conspiracy theories and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about that as well and break down what the community is doing. And I absolutely love this stuff because this is like what we do when we watched Marvel before Marvel is what it is today. But we'd speculate about every little aspect of Marvel shows and whatnot, and Grand Theft Auto fans love doing this type of stuff with conspiracy theories and whatnot, so we'll go over that as well. And then we'll also talk about why the PlayStation fans are cheering for CEO's departure. Jim Ryan oversaw the successful launch of PlayStation 5, and then yet people are, they were for him, and now they're kind of happy that he's leaving. It's kind of weird. But either way, these are the stories that we're going to go over. If you like what we do here, please make sure you hit share, like, subscribe. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to about noon Eastern. We also do Let's Plays or gameplay videos in the evenings from 8 p.m. To about midnight, Monday through Wednesday. And then we do a podcast Thursday nights called Generation X Gaming, which is a weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories from the past week, and we rant along the way. What's going on, chat? Morning, Travis, Silent Warrior, Eclipse, Jesse Mack. How's everyone doing? Hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I had a fantastic weekend. It was my wife's birthday this weekend. She took herself off for like 4 days. So she was off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But we took her. She's always wanted to go see the sunrise and then the sunset in the same day. So on the coasts, right? So obviously you can see it wherever you live. But she wanted to go to, East Florida. So we went to Daytona, watched the sunrise, and then we went to West Coast of Florida, and we watched the sunset all on the same day. So pretty cool. Had a nice weekend with the family. We didn't get to see the sunrise because it was a storm, but it was still fun. Good memories. So yeah, that's what we did this weekend. Hope you guys did something fun as well, whatever that is. Travis says, I'm excited. One it won't go up. I'm excited. 17 days, 14 hours, 4 minutes, and the best game of this comes out this year. Not what I'm counting down or anything. They ask what it is, and he says it's Spider-Man 2. Eclipse says Super Mario Wonder, right? Travis says, oh, right, the franchise that's meant for people under the age of 15. You're also labeling what Spider-Man is. Just to let you know, Travis. Most people that are Spider-Man fans were teenagers. At least back in my day, right? It was a cartoon and also a comic book meant for kids in their teenage years. But hey, who facts. Spider-Man 2, I think, is going to be a good game, but the best game is a little bold to say. It might be the best game for PlayStation. I mean, that's easy to say, right, Silent? So many people still saying Nintendo's for kids. It never changes what it was the same when it was in school. Right. It's the same, Eclipse. You understand, though, Travis, that a Mario game will sell 55 million copies, where Spider-Man in its lifetime won't come close to that, right? You do understand that? That's not a conspiracy theory with GTA. The conspiracy theory is something like, is 30 secretly Paul Giamatti with longer beard? Okay. Water says, Spider-Man 2 have borders or tiles. Trash. Good morning. Yeah, it'll have borders because it's the water around the island. Or islands now. It's islands now, right? Water? Nintendo is for kids, but nothing wrong with it. It's not for kids, Travis. You were 100% saying opinions again that are absolutely wrong. Literally, Nintendo is for ages of birth to death. So it's kind of known for, like, literally, because everyone that was a kid then became a teenager, then became an adult, which then became a grandparent, and they still love Nintendo. Those are facts. I did not, Jesse. He whooped my butt. We played on Friday Friday before we left, and he completely destroyed me even more. Yeah. Swansea. Yeah, birthday was great for her. Birthday was great for her. Meant for kids. Then I remember that Spider-Man talk about the AIDS epidemic, right? But comic books originally were for kids, for teenagers. I mean, I don't. These are facts, Travis. Regardless of what the topics are, they were originally meant for kids. Just because you're an adult now that likes something doesn't mean it's for adults now. Like Spider-Man originally, literally, Batman, Spider-Man, Superman, literally meant for children. Losing those gaming reflexes? No, it's not. I'm not losing the gaming reflexes, Water. It's just that I don't play the Switch. He gave me the regular controller and I was playing and I did better. But if I played like he does, like he literally plays every day, I could probably give him a run for his money. What's going on, boss? Go on, Kylo. I saw that, boss. I saw the highlights of the game. Like, do they not call holding calls in that game? Like, literally. I was like, what is happening? Stan Lee himself said Spider-Man was for him trying to make comics appeal to all ages, not just kids. Great, you're proving my point even better, though, right? It's not just for adults. You're saying, oh, Mario's just for the kids. Spider-Man's for adults. No, Spider-Man was literally for as many people as possible, yet Mario sells more. Just saying. All right, let's go to the first story, which is the layoffs, right? Which is layoffs at Epic, right? So this came out on the 29th. This is, or the 28th, sorry, September 28th. It said earlier today, Tim Sweeney sent the following email to Epic employees. He says, hi, everyone. As we shared earlier, we are laying off around 16% of Epic employees, which is devastating Bandcamp and spinning off most super awesome. Now, for a while now, we've been spending way more money than we earn, investing in the next evolution of Epic and growing Fortnite as the metaverse-inspired ecosystem for creators. I had long been optimistic that we could power through the transition without layoffs, but in retrospect, I see what this is unrealistic. Now, I just want to kind of break down something. Let's see. Let's see. Tim Sweeney, right? I want to get his last name correct here. Tim Sweeney's net worth. Let's see. Tim Sweeney's net worth, $4.1 billion. Pretty good, right? So this first paragraph here, where he says, investing in the next evolution of Epic and growing Fortnite as a metaverse, right? Think about that. Listen to the words he's saying there, right? To grow Epic and growing Fortnite as a metaverse, which I've said in the past, in the last couple of years, I've said that this is what they're doing. They're making Fortnite into the metaverse. They're making Minecraft into the metaverse. Facebook is trying to make the metaverse. They're all trying to make the metaverse, right? So Fortnite as a metaverse-inspired ecosystem for creators. They're trying to take everything from that and put it into Fortnite. Hence why they try to get all the IPs of Star Wars and Marvel and DC and everything else, trying to advertise for it, try to do the live events, trying to get people to come live inside this world of Fortnite. And then he says, as long as been optimistic and we could power through the transition without layoffs, but in retrospect, I see that it's unrealistic because they're spending way too much money. Imagine someone taking a pay cut to give the rest of the actual company, okay, the actual rest of the company. Now, obviously, he's worth $4.1 billion. Doesn't mean he has cash $4.1 billion. But if I was making, this is just me, though, right? This is just me. If I was a company owner and I was getting millions and millions of dollars. And then I looked at my workforce, right? I know this is easy for me to say because I'm not in this position, but this is the type of person I am. If I have $10 in my pocket and someone needs money, I will give it to them because I feel like that would help them out. As a business owner, would I lay off 800 people? Or would I take a pay cut so those 800 people could last for years because I take a pay cut? I don't know. You make that call. Okay. While Fortnite is starting to grow again, and the growth is driven primarily by the creator content with significant revenue sharing, and there's lower margin business, then we had with Fortnite, Battle Royale took off and began funding our expansions. Success with creator ecosystem and great achievement, but then it means major structural changes to our economics. Okay, Epic folks around the world have been making ongoing efforts to reduce costs, except me, right, Tim Sweeney, including moving into net zero hiring and cutting operating spends, and also like marketing the events. But we'll still end up far short of financial sustainability. Sorry, as we conclude the layoffs, our only way, and doing them now, and is in the scale we stabilize our finances. Right, only now. I can't take a pay cut. I got to get rid of all these people that are making stuff for us, and we're going to get rid of those people. We're also making some Bandcamp and joining a strong or song trend, a music marketplace, company supporting artists. Super awesome advertising business will also become an independent company under the Super Awesome brand, led by the current CEO, Kate O'Laughlin. Okay. Kids Web Service, KWS, the partners verification consistent management tool set will also remain part of Epic. Saying goodbye to the people who also helped build Epic in a terrible experience for all. The consolation, is also adequate funding to support layoff employees. We're offering a service package, okay, includes 6 months base pay of US, Canada, and Brazil, 6 months of Epic paid healthcare, and we're offering accelerated people's stock options vesting in the schedule through, right? This is to make them feel like we know you lost your job, but we're going to give you this for 6 months so you can look for other work, which is nice, I guess, but still they've lost their job. And we're also giving 2 additional years from today to exercise your options. In the U.S., we're also offering a vest of unearned profit sharing from their 401k, and we're also providing benefits including career transition services, visa support, and also what we can. Now, for those still at Epic, you'll hear more than senior leaders about the path forward for your team. Epic's prospects for the future are strong. Sure they are. Yeah. We have an amazing game experience across multiple platforms. We built the best engine in the world, and we're hosting Unreal Fest next week to bring community together to spotlight things and building the Unreal Engine. Just to let you know, the people that are running that event, they're fired, by the way. Right? The people that literally put together the Unreal Engine event, those people lost their job. So they're not running the event anymore. The event is done, and they fired them. So we're cutting costs without breaking the development of our core lines of business, and we also can continue to focus on ambitious plans about the 2/3 of the layoffs. We're in the teams outside of the core development. Some of the products we also landed on the schedule is also may not ship when planned because they're under resources for the time being, or under resourced. Okay, we're also okay with the schedule trade-off, and this means holding on to the ability to achieve our goals and get yet another side of profitability and become leading metaverse company. Now, I want you to really take this in, right? Become the leading metaverse company. In the same vein as Phil Spencer said, we're not competing with PlayStation and Nintendo, we're competing with Apple and Google. Epic Games is no longer competing or making video games, right? They're competing and becoming the leader of the metaverse company, okay? Apple's trying to do the metaverse, right? Microsoft is trying to do metaverse. Amazon's trying to do a metaverse. Facebook's trying to do a metaverse. And Epic Games is trying to do the metaverse. What this means is that Epic Games is trying to take all the content that they have, the resources they have. They bought the facial recognition company, the body, or not the facial recognition, the things that make to do the models of people's faces and also the bodies, right, to capture that. They also do the Unreal Engine, and they're trying to make everyone use the Unreal Engine, hence why they're giving it out to everybody, and then take a small percentage of everything. They want everyone and anything to use the Unreal Engine, so they have all the rights to everything. Everything has to come through them. So when they make the metaverse, okay, whatever that is, if it's a business, if it's a person, if it's an IP, if it's anything, they want to own it all. They want to get a percentage of everything for the rest of their time in existence, right? They want to get everything. That's what all these companies are going for, okay? They're all trying to get the metaverse because whoever owns the metaverse then owns everything ever, because you can't have multiple metaverses. You can't have Apple to have their metaverse. You can't have Epic to have their metaverse. You can't have it's like Highlander, okay? One person to rule them all, okay? They gotta slice each other's heads off and take their powers, okay? That's what they're all trying to move for, okay? Because what does it mean for Epic's properties? We're still focused on shipping as much success innovative as also Fortnite Season Chapter 5, Del Mar Sparks, Juno, and the schedules remain in place. We aren't cutting any core business. We're continuing to invest in games with Fortnite first-party development and the Fortnite creators ecosystem and economy. Rocket League and Fall Guys and the service developers, including Unreal Engine for games and enterprises, Epic Game Store, Epic Game Publishing, Epic Online Services, Kid Web Services, MetaHuman, Twinmotion, and the rest of them, right? We're devising our Bandcamp and spinning off some super awesome. And we also have a long company meeting later on October to talk about what the efforts are and the priorities. It says, what was the scope of the layoffs? We're laying off 830 employees, and this won't be the last, obviously, or 16% of jobs. About 2/3 of the layoffs were teammates outside the core development. Around 250 people are leaving Epic through different ventures of Bandcamp and Super Awesome. So they're taking those people and moving them over to different projects. Okay, we're cutting costs without sacrificing development of lines business. So that means business functions, all right, are impacted comparable development functions. Okay, will there be more layoffs? No. These changes financially stabilize the business. Sure. Because earlier this year they said that they will not be letting anyone go, and then obviously that changed, right? The entire goal for the process was to make our cost structure more sustainable, and we believe that we'll have achieved this. Will Epic continue hiring? Yes. We continue hiring for critical roles and while maintaining net zero at our new size. And what about the project library? We've been taking steps to reduce legal expenses, but continuing the fight against Apple and Google distribution, monopolies, and taxes so the metaverse can thrive and bring opportunity to Epic and all other developers. Listen to those words, right? Listen to those words, right? Like, Tim Sweeney is so delusional that he actually thinks that what he's doing is different than what Apple and Google is, okay? We've been taking steps to reduce our legal expenses, but continue to fight against Apple and Google's distribution of monopolists and taxes so that the metaverse can thrive and bring opportunity to Epic and all other developers. Developers using the Unreal engines that will work with Epic and Epic to make the metaverse. And the metaverse will be the next Apple, will be the next Google. It's amazing to me that, trying to say that we're stopping these guys. We're the small guy. We're the only billion-dollar company. We're trying to stop these trillion-dollar companies from being a monopoly, right? So help the little guys out here. Help Epic, right? Because we are going to be to save the little developers. Epic Games is going to be that guy for you. It's delusional. It really is. Let me see what you guys are saying about this. Okay. Let me scroll back up. Layoffs. Epic should be the last company talking about layoffs. It's amazing, though, Water. Earlier this year, Epic said that, no, we're not laying off because other people were laying off companies. And Epic's like, no, we're not doing that. And here we are, just 6 months later from when they said they weren't going to lay off anybody. And then obviously it changed, right? Because the board members and stuff are like, how do we make more money? How do we make more money, right? Well, let's get rid of everyone. Forget that. How do we save money? Hey, Tim, do you mind taking a pay cut? What? Pay cut? We're overspending. Spending more than you make, crazy idea. Yeah, it's amazing. Krebsy says $4 billion, not enough to keep the lights on. And the yacht docked. That's right. Water says, it looks like Tim needs to take a pay cut. I would think so, right? have a soul, you could never be in a position like that. That's true. That's true, Travis. I mean, for instance, I don't make a lot of money, right? But like, I'll go to like Starbucks or even breakfast this morning, right? I saw a person that couldn't afford a cup of coffee. It's like this guy comes in, I see him every once in a while. Came in, he was looking for change that he had and couldn't, right? So not only did I buy him coffee, but I also bought him breakfast, right? Like, why not? Right? Make someone's day, right? Now, I know it's buying someone breakfast and taking a pay cut of, hundreds of millions of dollars is a little different, but that's just the type of person I am, right? Speaking of Nintendo being for kids, the CEO did that. Yeah. If the day comes, they will beg and suck up their way to another ladder. Oh, absolutely. After making a certain amount of money for a year, you just don't overdoing it at that point. Then the studios also have shown this for $4 billion is a ton of money. Yeah, billion with a B. You know what I mean? Didn't he leave the company a week before the layoffs, though? Didn't he leave the company? Tim Sweeney? What's going on, Big Blue? No, Tim Sweeney, he owns 50% of Epic. He owns 50%. Tencent owns, I forget what percentage of it, but Tim Sweeney owns 50%. He owns majority. It's like 51% or whatever it is. Oh, yeah. They have anytime Star Wars or anything adds something or does another show, Jesse, Epic Games, or I should say Fortnite, they're going to add something of Star Wars. There's more Star Wars in Fortnite than Star Wars games. There's more Marvel characters in Fortnite than actual Marvel games. They probably added contracts saying anything that uses Unreal Engine they can use for Fortnite. I don't know if they would do that, Dolphin. I mean, I would assume just like anything else, if you want to make something for Fortnite, you can use Fortnite, but they want everyone to try to get into Fortnite. That way, once they open up whatever they haven't planned, if it's an MMO, if it's that meta space where everyone can come in. I said this years ago when they added shops and stores. They made that island where the concert was and whatnot, and I was like, it's kind of weird that they made stores inside Fortnite, like little shops that you could walk into and whatnot. I was like, this is interesting. I was like, I think they have more to add to this, right? And I said they're going to go for the metaverse, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
Thanks for becoming a member.
Akuda, thank you very much for the 8-month membership. Appreciate that. Travis says, not nice at all that they lost their jobs because management is greedy assholes. They've also said that once they say it again, if you have to pay over $1 million, I don't feel sorry for you. I mean, they're still paying for those people, and the problem is that you're the bad guy. I mean, people lose their jobs, but this is not like abnormal, right? This happens all the time, especially during the holidays. Okay, but to say that you're going to fire this many people, and literally the answer is I could take a pay cut because I don't need to make this much money. Because if I give back to the company, I'm going to make lots of money. There's a point in life where you make so much money that you don't need to make any more money. And I know that sounds ridiculous to say, but if I make hundreds of millions of dollars a year and I don't make hundreds of millions of dollars the next year, I'm not saying give all my money to all other people, right? You earn your money, you make your money, you do it. But to say that,
thanks for becoming a member.
If I just take a pay cut for 6 months and I can employ this many people more, is insane to me. It's insane to me, especially when you can make more money from those people, right? Certain people understand, and I understand they make more money, but like a salary. Some people, like Steve Jobs, famously only made $1 because he didn't pay himself from Apple. He took all that money and then made sure all that money went back in. And of course, he made more money off the other things, but he didn't pay himself a salary. Why? Right? So he could take that money and put it into other things so the company would grow. Because he knows he's going to make with stock options and everything else, that he was going to make the money. Now you look at it, right? Steve Jobs, when he died, then Tim Cook came in, has a salary, okay? And the company is completely different now. It's completely different now than what it was when Steve Jobs was underneath it. Let's see what you guys are saying. Eclipse says, I'm not the biggest Nintendo fan because of they're stuck in the 30 frames per second, but I always respect them for the CEO taking a pay cut and all the higher-ups taking a pay cut. Right. You know what I mean? Because they're making plenty of money. They're making plenty of money. Why would they not lay off software and stuff getting more advanced? This means they need a lot of human input not needed. So they use to take 100 devs to do a game. Now it only takes 50. Sure. And I guarantee you, Silent Warrior, that they're probably, and obviously we don't know what behind the scenes of Epic, but I'm sure, when someone's NDA ends, they can tell you what's going on behind the scenes as far as what they're working on with AI. I mean, we already know that the procedurally generated, that's AI, right? Procedurally generated, they can make a map and seamlessly put it together with just a click of a button, right? Like, if one person, right, I really want to take the time. I don't have the time, but if I took the time to download Unreal Engine, I bet you I could make a pretty damn good map and make a small little game that was like 10 minutes long by myself after a certain period of time, right? Because everyone else is working on the stuff. The AI is starting to work on things, and then there's just assets that you put in. You can make your own game. Travis says, I've always been the way where I buy a dude coffee because it's a nice thing to do. You're rather a nice person. You're not. And these people never have been. But I think they have. But I think business is business, right? Business is business. Company says the actor strike could impact Epic. Less companies coming to Epic to use the Unreal Room and Mando uses. Well, yeah, that's film production. But the companies, obviously it's going to take a toll, but they still can use it, right? I don't need to be a union actor to use the stuff. They could still make movies. They just can't use union actors in the movies. So their stuff is still being used, Krebsy. It's just not being used by top tier unionized actors and whatnot. But the production companies can still use the gear, so they're not being hurt. They can still make a movie just with a non-named actor that's not part of the union. Travis says, speaking of Marvel games, what do you think? One for Moon Knight or Blade? I mean, I think there's always a market to make one game, but it's like, what do you do with a game like that, Travis? Like, if I make a Daredevil game, and then I make a Blade game, and then I make a Iron Man game, and then I make a Moon Knight game, like, how different are those games, right? I'm a guy with weapons, fighting people. Like, they're all kind of blend together. Also, who's been doing the live concerts? Was it Meta or Facebook, right? Yeah, they've been doing concerts, and someone else was doing the concerts. There's a separate company that also does VR concerts and stuff like that. Silent Warrior says, but why would they do that? Technology is advancing. The programs and software are getting more advanced and don't require as much human input. Taking a pay cut to be nice to keep people's jobs. I mean, I guess you could be ruthless, right? Silent, and not take a pay cut, fire everybody, and let a robot do everyone's job. But then what happens? What happens to the quality? What happens to people? Where do they go? What do they do? Right? What happens to it all? Right? What do those people do? Does everyone become a janitor then? Does everybody become a store clerk? Well, you don't need them either, right? Because there's also electronics and people are doing self-checkouts and whatnot. So then what do we do? Do we all just sit at home? Do we just all sit at home and just, well, AI are doing everything now. We don't need right? Businesses need to stop doing what they're doing as far as going the path that they're going down. Sure, I can save money and make more money, but that's the point, right? I don't think keeping people around just to be nice is the right approach. Providing additional training or whatever to give people additional skills to work on, say, the AI. But why would they do that? Why would they train 20 people where they can get one person to make sure all the robots are working okay? Right? There's literally, I talked about this a couple of months ago, right? There was a factory where the whole automated process of the cows being processed and milked and everything, okay, is literally used to be like 50 people working there. But now because of the robots and the machinery and everything else, there's 5 people. Instead of 50 people, there's 5 people working the entire staff, like the whole facility. And the lights are only on in the spots that the people are working, okay? There's no other lights. It's pitch dark because all robots and everything are doing everything else. And it's just the people where they're standing. Okay? Sure. As a business owner, you look at that and go, yeah, I'm saving a ton of money. But as society goes, you're completely ruining society because now those 45 other people have no jobs. And those 45 people that were skilled, trained to do the things that they were supposed to do in that production line are no longer doing that job. So where do they go? So if a robot was to take my job, I should be entitled to pay just because the right thing to do? I'll tell you what, Silent. If you ever get replaced in your whatever job you do, I don't know what you do. You let me know how that works out for you when you have to go back and do something else. And then now you're fighting for your life to get a job that you didn't do for the last 20 years. Because now you're older. And because you're older, no one wants to hire you. Because they can hire somebody else or not hire anybody at all because you're replaced by a robot or a machine or a piece of software. Or someone that'll work for $10 where you're qualified to work for $40, but now you don't get to $40 anymore because it doesn't matter about you. You're just out the door. You're a tissue. You're disposable, and now someone else is there. See, the thing is, it doesn't affect you, so you're like, not a big deal, right? Dumpy says, example, I do accounting for a major firm. I know the AI is coming for my job, right? And what are you going to do, right? Dumpy, my wife did accounting as well, okay? She left the industry a couple years ago. It's about a decade ago now, right? And now we have a farm, right? And obviously she does the books and stuff for our personal business, right? But it's like that's being not, what's the word I'm looking for? We're lucky, right? Because we own our business. So we are the person on the top, okay? And hiring employees, okay? Our job doesn't depend on AI to do anything. We need actual human beings to do the stuff. So we're in that position. But as far as everybody else, like, what are you gonna do? If you're taking over, you go back to school and then great. Then what do you do, right? Now you're doing something completely different. Yeah, AI can't replace my job. I'm going to. Robots can only think so much and have creativity or will to live. More flights would crash because of the AI or robot than if you have a human pilot. Well, I think at that point, okay, Papa, and again, I don't know too much, but what I'm saying is if a plane can basically fly itself, the person that's in the cockpit is now just making sure you're the safety mechanism. Just in case the things go wrong, instead of you flying the plane in the future, I'm not saying now, right? In the future, it would fly itself, and then you would be there to make sure that if anything goes wrong, you're the insurance policy, right? Well, of course, we all have to adapt. If it affects everyone, even removing AI or robots to whatever there is, I always someone with more knowledge or skill than me, so companies shouldn't hire more skilled labor. Yeah, but Silent, you're taking this conversation and going more into like AI stuff. That's not what they're doing for this Epic conversation we're having. Epic is firing people because they want to make more money, not because of AI coming in and doing this stuff. right? They're literally firing people because they have to make their books higher because they're spending too much. Because they're bad business people. They're making so much money and then overpaying for everything, and then they have to get rid of somebody because of the person's mistakes that's spending too much money, which is Tim Sweeney. The problem comes with fatigue. If they had been pushing one pilot aircraft, but then now how many people airlines fly two pilots? The experience is better than a robot. We could think of something that goes wrong. Kylo says, I set up run machines. Oh, someone else, I missed it. Eclipse, thank you very much for the membership. Appreciate that. Sorry I missed that. Thank you very much. Appreciate the support. I set up and run machines. I'm just here to make sure the machines does its job correctly instead of running one machine. They're pushing everyone to run at least two now. Who knows? I'll be soon. Exactly. Instead of having 10 people work in a production line, now there's one person making sure all the robots are running and the other 9 people are just screwed. But it's okay because those 9 people are not you, right? If you stop caring about the fellow man, you stop being human. If it's simple as eating, consumption, and basic animal stuff, we're supposed to be different. How do you become a member here? Is there a link or something? I want to show support. There should be a link or a thing at the bottom that says join. It doesn't show up for me because I'm a premium and it's my channel, so I don't see where it is. But because of my brand account, so when I go to people's chats, I don't see it. But it should say member or join next to the subscribe button down below. You could do a super chat. You could hit the like button. There's many different ways that you can support the channel if you don't want to do monetary. Just talking in the chat is helping us and whatnot. Sharing the website, sharing the channel. I just find it funny though that at the very bottom, again, let me bring this back up. Right, this is just this part right here. Apple and Google distribution monopolies and taxes, so the metaverse can thrive and bring opportunity to Epic. Right, to say that they're trying to fight the man. Right, Tim Sweeney in his head is like this small time nobody, even though in the bigger picture, Tim Sweeney and Epic Games is gigantic, right? They're $1 billion company making trillions of dollars with microtransactions and then spending all that money and they can't make it. A lot of these tech companies spend so much money and they don't know how to operate their costs of what they already have. Look at Bungie. Bungie burns through money. They've done it all the time. Hence why they have to team up with somebody because they just keep spending way too much. They're paying way too much for people. They're spending way too much on things, right? But Epic is saying that Apple and Google are the bad guys, and we're not the bad guys. Epic Games is not the bad guys, right? Not yet, right? But we want to be. They want to be where Apple and Google is so they can call the shots, so they can then say, well, look at us, right? We're not like Apple and Google. We're different, even though we want everyone to come through us, the metaverse, right? We don't want all the money. We just want everything to come through us, and we'll take a small percentage of everything, right? That's exactly what Epic wants. Travis says, because here's my thing about Insomniac. They said they prefer doing single character-focused games, so it's probably not X-Men, which leaves me curious what it would be. Oh, for their next game, what they're working on? I mean, look, I love my comic book games, and I would play, Travis, just to make it clear, I would play like a Punisher game or a Daredevil game and a Moon Knight game and a Cyclops game and an X-Men game, right? Because I like those things. But someone that looks at it is like when they look at movies, they go, oh, it's just another superhero movie. Like, what are you going to do different? It's a guy with special abilities or a girl with special abilities that's saving the world, doing the same thing. It kind of gets monotonous and stuff as far as storytelling. As long as they can tell good stories, which Punisher would be a good story, Moon Knight would be a good story. Like, as long as they have good stories for that, then I have no problem them making the stuff. But the bigger grand scheme of things, people kind of burnt out because they're just like, oh, it's another person in tights doing something to save someone. Boss says, just play GTA with a Punisher skin mod. There you go, Punisher game. That's a good point, though, boss, right? Like, if you just take it and take that game, right, with the mod of, like, Superman, you can go around, fly around the board as Superman, and then all of a sudden, you know, land on the ground and pretend you're Superman, or do the Hulk mod and whatnot. Quintar, thank you much for the gifted 5 memberships. Appreciate the support. Right? 100%. You could just take a game that's already out there, do a mod, and be done with it, right? Even, for instance, Starfield.
Thanks for
right?
becoming
You
a member.
You want to play a Star Wars game, but why put 5 years in development to make a Star Wars game when you could just put a mod, a skin over the character, and then pretend you're Mando and go around the galaxy, and then pretend you're Boba Fett, or pretend you're Mando, or pretend
Thanks
you're Luke
for becoming a
Skywalker.
member.
You know what I mean? Like, that's it. That's all you have to do with those that type of stuff. You're not wrong.
Thanks for becoming
right?
a member.
Just put a pretty girl in a tight costume with a large ass and tits, and you'll be and that's how people get to play it. Man, they'll be like, "Man, this is fantastic." Exactly right.
Thanks for becoming a member.
Speaking of Rockstar, right? Speaking of Rockstar, story number 2 that I want to talk about is, right, conspiracy theory. Are you ready? Conspiracy theory. Rockstar Games, right? Rumored that we're in October now. Okay, we're in October now. Okay, now this picture. Let me bring up our pinned tweets here. Okay, someone posted. Let me find the actual. Yeah, here it is. Okay, let me open up in a new tab. Right. Someone posted this on Twitter, and this is Rockstar Games. Okay, Happy Moon Festival. Play GTA Online anytime this week and get red Happy Moon Tea join festivities. Okay, now this is what I love. Now I'm not making fun of this. I absolutely love when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, and the people that would play the game, and then they would try to figure out what's coming next in the game. Right. What's coming next in the game? They would do this conspiracy theories of the aliens and Bigfoot and all the other stuff, and what's coming out, what kind of DLC is coming out. I absolutely love this stuff because it's just fun, right? You got to take it to what it is. It's just simple. It's just fun, okay? But what do you see, guys? What do you see, okay? Okay, what do you see in this picture? Look at this picture. It's Grand Theft Auto 5. They're standing in front of the Vinewood symbol. Okay, the Vinewood sign, which is the Hollywood sign. Okay, if you guys like what we do here, by the way, hit that like button down below. We just take news stories and have conversations with you, 100% chat. We have just good conversations about stuff in the industry and whatnot in general. Okay, the picture that's being hit right now, you see two characters, not 3, not 4, not 1, 2. Now, what the rumors are? The rumors are that Grand Theft Auto 6, there's going to be 2 protagonists. So look, 1, 2. That's not the protagonist, but there's 2 people in the picture. And then look, Vinewood, okay, there's a V and a 1. Well, that's the rumor number of 6. So there's 6, okay? Then there's 2 people, and then there's the moon. Now, I jokingly, okay, said this the other day in our Discord, okay? And this was on, this was posted on, I think, the 29th. Yeah, 29th at 10 a.m. Okay. Now, in our pinned tweets, where is it? In our pinned tweets, I said that it could just be the Vinewood sign. But I said, or it could look at this picture as this, well, the V and the 1 stand for Grand Theft Auto 6. The 2 characters represent the 2 playable characters in Grand Theft Auto 6. And the full moon represents that they're going to announce the game on the next full moon. Now, the last full moon was just this Saturday, okay, or Friday, okay? And obviously, it wasn't in October. But the next full moon is October 26th. Now, Krebsy, one of our longtime standing, patrons here and always has good conversations back and forth. He comes back and says, I can go down the rabbit hole. And this is what he's doing. Okay. And I said, please do. Please do. Okay. So Grand Theft Auto 6 announcement coming in October. He says, in a recent tweet about High Moon Festival, it says it's a big V1. Out of all the places to use the background and pick the Vinewood sign, okay, not sus, but then all the angles they pick, the one with the highlights of the V and the 1. Now, High Moon Festival is about the moon, obviously. The 2 full moons soon are September 29th and October 28th. Okay. Now, Rockstar doesn't have a pinned tweet. This commonly happens when the announcement is about to happen, such as the DLC of Grand Theft Auto or the announcement of a game. Take-Two CEO said they expect $8 billion revenue in 2024, and this isn't happening without the launch of Grand Theft Auto 6, and I agree with that. Okay. The October/November window is the common window that Rockstar does actions. Okay. More and more GTA 6 leaks are releasing, and Rockstar might want to get the game announced before the whole game leaks. Okay. Grand Theft Auto 5 just had its 10th year anniversary event, and this could also spark the start of the breadcrumbs for GTA 6. Okay. Max Payne 3 had a band poster for Love Fist Dogs on the Heat Tour in 1986, and this shows the dates and performances on January 4th of Lost Ventures, 429 in Liberty City, 518 North Yankton, 917 Alamo Seas, 1026 San Fierro, 1029 Vice City, and all those dates minus the 1029 release dates of Rockstar products, GTA 4 release, 4/29/2008. Red Dead Redemption 1 released on 5/18/2010. GTA 5 released on 9/17/2023. Red Dead Redemption 2, 10/26/2018. And only date left is 10/29/2000 whatever. Okay. Current leaks say the announcement will happen on October 26th. Right? Franklin and Michael, voice actors, have been talking with each other on the streams recently, answered questions about the rumored actor who is playing Grand Theft Auto 6 protagonist. And Chris Marks says the announcement is coming soon in the leaked announcement on Fabled, Payday 3, and Dragon's Dogma. Now, what he's talking about there is there's a post here, and again, this is why I love the Grand Theft Auto community. Okay? All the stuff that goes around, and this is the same thing that Krebsy was just talking about, right? So here's the post. There's GTA 6 Vice City, right? Vice, the capital, VI. You got the moon. The moon's over here. Okay, and then it goes back over here. Video release on October 31st, 2006. So what it says here, it says, Red Dead Redemption released on October 26th. Red Dead announced on October 18th. Grand Theft Auto released on September 17th. Announcement was on October 25th. Red Dead 1 was at May 18th. Announcement was 2000, but that got delayed. We do know that. Grand Theft Auto released April 29th, 2008. Grand Theft Auto, I think it's Vice City released on October 31st, 2006. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas released on October 26th. And Grand Theft Auto Vice City released on October 29th. And they're all on the Tuesdays. Okay. So Tuesday, October 3rd, they say that's when the announcement. So tomorrow, supposedly Tuesday, October 3rd. Now, obviously, more has been wrong than right about this stuff. But what I love about Grand Theft Auto fans, man, is that they turn into like Sherlock Holmes. Okay. They turn into Sherlock Holmes. So Rockstar Games rumored to announce GTA 6 on October 26th. Now, Rockstar Games continues to stay silent about the next mainline entry in the Grand Theft Auto franchise. Okay. Now, again, this is just rumors. This is just a talk. This is a report, just kind of leading you up to what people are talking about and what people are suggesting. Now, a few titles carry as much weight as Grand Theft Auto franchise now. After much speculation, okay, and rumors that exist, enticing whispers making rounds around Rockstar Games might soon announce Grand Theft Auto 6 on October 26th. Now, October 26th, okay, let me open up a calendar here. October 26th is a Thursday, okay? Is a Thursday, which is kind of weird. I don't know why they would pick the 26th instead of the 24th, because I think the full moon's on the 28th, but that's the last, like, possible day before. I don't know, okay? One self-styled insider, Chris Marks, known by his online handle Marks Chris, lit up X with a claim. I can't say X, it's Twitter. Okay. Claim that I can now confirm Grand Theft Auto 6 announcement is set to release on October 26, 2023. Now, Chris isn't a new player to the leaked game. He has a track record for correctly hinting at certain announcements. Real quick. Conspiracy theory. Okay. So he has a track record of correctly hinting at certain announcements. Isn't clear whether it's Grand Theft Auto 6 Okay, revelation is fact fiction, but in the past predictions like Payday 3 and Dragon Dogma 2 coming true, one can't help but raise an eyebrow of curiosity. Okay, he comes out and says, we can now confirm Grand Theft Auto 6 announcement is set for release on October 26th. Okay, a quick search over the internet paints a picture of thoughts and options, or opinions, I should say. On one hand, some remain hopeful, crossing fingers that Rockstar finally breaks the silence. Some note that the high times, given it's been a good 5 years since the release of Red Dead Redemption 2. On the flip side, skeptics who have been down this road one too many times are wary of getting their hopes up too high. Adding another layer of speculation is Rockstar's own behavior of the company's X account has been silent, usually. So historically, it's also been flared for dramatic, often using silence as a precursor to big announcements. But then again, with the history of unexpected tweets and unpredictable moves, predicting Rockstar's next play is a keen to reading the tea leaves at the bottom of a cup. Now, diving deeper into the mechanics of the potential game itself, leaks suggest that fascinating evolution. There chatters a revamped wanted system, intriguing hints of mock-up map with as many as 100 unique locations. Could interstate travel be a part of the new gameplay? Only time will tell. Now, another intriguing point to the game's potential marketing trajectory is Grand Theft Auto 4 and 5 had drawn-out marketing cycles with the entire world eager to see Grand Theft Auto 6. Might Rockstar choose a shorter but more intense marketing campaign? That's not all. Let's not forget that Rockstar's propensity to platform-specific launches. The company has consistently favored the console platform first before introducing their games to PC gamers. This method, while perhaps irksome to PC loyalists, have proven financially fruitful in the past. Now, of course, the patience is part of the parcel of being a Rockstar aficionado. From Red Dead Redemption to Grand Theft Auto 5, to delays have been the consistent companion of the major titles. The studio doesn't just make games, it crafts, hones, and perfects, refusing to rush games to meet dates and deadlines. So while Grand Theft Auto 6 might test the patience of eager fans, the end result is often worth the wait. Now, beyond the next game, a GTA game, one can ignore the changes of Rockstar's halls with prominent figures such as Dan Houser, Michael Unsworth leaving in recent years, and the company is undergoing a notable shift. These departures undoubtedly impact the dynamic within. Shouldn't underestimate the Rockstar's resilience. In the end, all the hullabaloo boils down to simply truth. The gaming community's passion for GTA unmatches the next chapter and eagerly awaited. And when finally unveils, the rest assured the world will sit up and take notice. And no matter what, we joke about this all the time on this channel, right? Grand Theft Auto could literally just change the logo of their profile and people would lose their shit. Okay? They could put a number 6. I joked and said that they could put the Count from Sesame Street on there and just saying 6, and people would lose their mind because that is what Grand Theft Auto Rockstar fans do. I love it. Just like we did with Marvel's Avengers. Okay, well, not Marvel's Avengers, I'm sorry. Marvel's like the television series and the movies. Every time a movie came out and you saw that end scenario, the end credit scene, your brain would start going so far into speculate what's going to happen. Still happens to today, okay? How many people still think Mephisto's coming, okay? We're 3 years past the point, right? And Mephisto's not coming. And if he does come, it's going to be 2 years down the road. It'll be 5 years later. But everyone's like, see, I told you, right? Like, this is the type of stuff. And when I look at stuff like this, I think this is good. I do. I think this is good for a community and stuff because I miss the days of when a game was really, really fun. You would go to school or go to work and people would be like, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, I played this. I played this. And you start to fantasize and talk about, oh, man, it's so going to be so good. And you have this like water cooler talk, right? And that is all gone now because of the social media. Social media is this water cooler talk that happens all the time. All right. So when all this happens, I like the little, like the smokestack here, you know, the cloud looks like something. It looks like the island, you know, like you can't see it, but like if someone says, I think this is the shape of the island of the next Grand Theft Auto map, it's like, that's what people do. But that's what people do in the game itself. When you played Grand Theft Auto 4, you did the Grand Theft Auto 5, the little stories within the game, even Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2, people trying to find Bigfoot, people trying to find like the ghost, people with the train, people with the aliens and all the stuff. It's just really good. It's just really good to promote a game. It's not out. It hasn't been out for 10 years. the next Grand Theft Auto has been missing in action for 10 years. And yet, every time Rockstar puts a picture, every time they make an announcement, every time something happens in Grand Theft Auto, people are like hungry lions. When you throw meat into the cage, they're like, oh my God, maybe this is it. Maybe this is their announcement. And it's just funny to me. It's funny. Regardless if it's bullshit or not, I think it's still good for the industry to have this much hype for a game. And I think this is the one game that can't be overhyped. I really do. Because no matter what happens, there's going to be people that hate Grand Theft Auto. But the 180 million copies sold say otherwise, right? 188 million copies, I think now. They're averaging 20 million copies a year, which is just insane. Let me go with what you guys are saying in chat here. Conspiracy theory, GTA is just a murder hobo simulator. Wait, I'm getting confirmation that's exactly what it is. Krebsy says, cracking knuckles, GTA theory, you say? Titan says, the V and the 1, Vice City. Good Lord, we're reaching. You say we're reaching, Travis, but this is I think this is a healthy fan base, right? Just like when you looked at the Marvel films and whatnot, and people started going down that rabbit hole, what could it mean the next movie or the next show? I think that's a healthy, that's a good way to keep your fans like engaged, doing the minimal as possible, right? How can the rabbit hole when you killed the rabbit and the wife's kid's disabled grandmother is also everyone else's? Jesus. Now GTA players hype upcoming Halloween update is not GTA 6 a sign. I mean, it could be both. Could it not? It could be both. I think it's funny. I do think it's funny. This does seem intentional and exciting, but believe it when I see it, I guess. This happens every October. Exactly, Kylo. Exactly. Most of them are more like Watson than Sherlock. Yeah. Well, it wasn't Watson the more used to help Sherlock figure stuff out, and Sherlock just got all the credit. Now that if that Vice City is a sign, I mean, look, let's go back to this real fast, right? It is, don't you find it a little strange that, and Krebsy's right? This could mean exactly what it means, where it's just an event happening in Vinewood, okay? And they just took it in front of the Vinewood. But it's very intentional by Rockstar itself to make sure that the V and the 1 look standalone, because they could have moved over, and you could have seen the V, the I, and the N, and then people would have been like, oh, it's the Vinewood, and then you're kind of reaching. But I think this is very intentional. If it's done on purpose and nothing's going to happen, fine. But it's very intentional to show the V and the 1 as the 6, right? I think it is. I think the marketing genius behind it, because again, they don't have to do very much to get people hyped. This does it. This picture alone does it. So at this point, how long has GTA 6 been in production? Rumors have it, Water, that it's been in production since 2014. And other people say 2016. Doesn't mean in full production, just means they started doing the groundwork of it. Says we're making predictions. What do you think will be the first day sales of GTA 6? Oh, I think this is going to be the #1 selling game of all time. And right now, I think it was Cyberpunk pre-ordered. It was like 8 million copies. I think Grand Theft Auto, based on as long as they don't make any kind of deals with like Game Pass or anything, and everyone has to go out and buy it, I think day one pre-sales are going to beat Cyberpunk. And I think day one sales, I think this game makes its money back before the game comes out, for sure. And that's not seeing anything, right? That's not seeing anything. Now, the picture had to be intentional. The build, the hype. Yeah, exactly, Kylo. there's no way with all the places that you could take a picture, why would you take it in front of the Vinewood? Again, even if the game's not coming out, to put that there just to get the community to talk about it is exactly what they were looking for. What's going on, Lurker? Travis says GTA will always be a series I never get what people see in. I can live to be 500 and still won't get it. That's because not every game is meant for everybody, and you don't like it, so move on with your life. Krebsy says Elden Ring is shit. Community loves it. Grand Theft Auto is shit. Community loves it. There seems to be a common denominator. Exactly. I don't know. I wouldn't call it healthy. That community is probably one of the largest amount of crazy people playing it. That's a lot of them in therapy. I mean, when I say healthy community is people being hyped for a game and like to connect the dots and whatnot, right? Like I think that's a fun community. Right? If you don't think it's fun, then you're not part of that community, right? If you're part of that community that's putting up theories and trying to figure stuff out, and when a game comes out to try to figure out where Bigfoot is, or they're putting where the UFO is and finding the pictures on the wall. I mean, this is all planned stuff that Rockstar does to put in their games so the community talks and stuff. But this is planned stuff. Sony, look how well out games sell. Rockstar, hold my beer. Yeah, like not even close. Is there any type of game event coming up where they would release a trailer or something? I don't think they would. I don't think Rockstar works that way. I think they literally just release a trailer like on a whim, right? They would just drop a trailer and say, "Here's the Grand Theft Auto 6." I don't think they have to link it to an actual event inside the game itself. Like it's a Tuesday, you know what I mean? They're like, here's a trailer. What game is surprisingly fun is Cocoon. What is Cocoon? Big Mo was talking about it. Said the boss fights were good. What type of game is Cocoon? I have to look it up. I have a teaser community because the amount of psychopathic videos that come out those games. I always find it funny. There was a one called GT O'Clock, I think it was called back in the day, right? And I used to love all the conspiracy theories and stuff that were in there, and most of them came true because the community starts to. Here's the way I'll kind of compare the two, right? The community of modders in video games, where modders work together to like make stuff and like the community goes behind them, is the same type of feeling I get with the Rockstar community piecing together clues and stuff inside the game once the game comes out and they try to figure out certain things, or the community piecing together stuff and also figuring out when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out. There's one thing that Marvel's Avengers did really well, right? And I always give credit to oh god, I just set it up and I can't think of his name. Oh my god, what is his name? Holy Christ. Water, what's his name from Twitter? That put all the leaks and stuff. Oh my god, I can't think of his name. My brain just went blank. I can't think of his Twitter account. Give me a second as my brain resets. And I'm trying to think of his name. Miller. Thank you, Krebsy. Yes. Miller. Okay. What kept Marvel's Avengers alive? It wasn't the developers. Right? It wasn't the updates that were happening every single week and the developers talking about it on their streams. It was Miller, right? Miller was a miniature version of what the GTA community is, right? Miller would post something about a voice line or the picture of a superhero, and people would be like super hyped up about the game, right? The small community of Marvel's Avengers was awesome, right? It kept us 2.5 years hyped up every time Miller and all the things that he said came true, except when the company went bye-bye and they didn't bring out She-Hulk and they didn't bring out other things. But everything that he data mined and whatnot came out and it was real. Okay? He single-handedly kept that game alive and hyped up, and the community was excited about it. Way more than it should have been. Way more than it should have been. Okay? And that's what I liked, right? And that's what the Grand Theft Auto community does, but in a bigger, more people do that for that game. Can't believe I can't remember his name. Jesus Christ. Yeah, he single-handedly dug to keep Marvel's Avengers alive with rumors. Yeah. Dark Creation Zombies coming to Battlefield 2042 for Season 6 on October 10th. Are they really putting zombies in the game, Dustin? We'll have to look that up a little bit later. What's sad is Miller was doing it for a small, good game. GTA does it for a massive, bad game. Man, Travis, you got hurt from games that you... Here's your deal. I got you pegged now. I got you pegged. Anytime a game is massive, you hate it because if the masses like a game, you want to feel cool and hip and not like that game, right? That's what it is. I got you now. Every time a game is massive and very well spoken of by the masses, you're like, I hate it. It's shit. Bad story. I got you now. I got you. You no longer have to type anymore. You no longer have to type. If I speak of a good game by the masses, I know you're going to talk about it like shit. I got you. I got you. Krebsy says, Sony wants mobile and PC. Take-Two is a big face on both mobile and PC. Take-Two is also successful, like live service, NBA 2K. This dot is less likely, but could happen. Are you saying that Sony is going to pick up Take-Two? Krebsy, is that what you're saying? Considering Rockstar bought 5M, I think it's a crime if the game doesn't drop on PC at the same time as console. There's no way. I mean, it's never dropped on PC the exact same time, ever. This could be different, Kylo, but it's never. So if it doesn't happen, it wouldn't surprise me. And if it does happen, that would surprise me. No, see, that's different, Travis. Those are first-party title games that are masses for Sony, which only sell 5 to 7 to 8 million copies, which is not a thing to shine against. But those are just for PlayStation. I'm talking about third-party games. Let me name a couple for you. Let me name a couple that you hate. Okay, Elden Ring, massive across all platforms. You hate it. Skyrim, massive across all platforms. You hate it. Grand Theft Auto, massive across all platforms. You hate it. That's right. Sony gets Take-Two? No way. No way. They can't afford them. And if they can't afford them, Krebsy, they better buy them before Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out. Because as soon as Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, there's no way in hell Sony would be able to afford them. Sony has Rockstar partnership. How they do GTA Online with 5 beyond that, I don't know. Oh, I can agree that they can get like an exclusive with Grand Theft Auto or something, right? Maybe something happens like they did with Hogwarts Legacy and other games in the past. But to buy Take-Two, no way. 31 billion Take-Two will be bought like Bungie. Not by Sony. They might be bought, but they're not going to be bought by Sony. GTA 6 now exclusive for PlayStation 5. Yeah, That wouldn't happen across the board or anything. They could do like a mission or something like that, or exclusives that you get if you pre-order on PlayStation. Yeah, I can see exclusive GTA Online mission items, cars, but nothing like owning the rights to the whole game. Yeah, that's not going to happen. I think it would be hard for Microsoft to buy it because I don't think Take-Two would sell it because of Grand Theft Auto 6. Like, what they would pay for just Grand Theft Auto, like Rockstar, would be like 90% of that budget. Let's say they do 31 billion, right? Let's just say Krebsy's saying 31 billion. 30 billion would be because of Rockstar, and the 1 billion would be because of everything else of Take-Two owns. I don't see it happening. There's no way. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm saying it's highly doubtable that Sony would pick them up. Take-Two doesn't have a say if you're buying the whole company. It's either you say yes or sued by investors. Sure, they're not. Sony's not going to offer it to them. The base game will be GTA 6 will be 150. You think the base game is going to be 150? I know that's the rumor. Don't think Sony has the money to take to with the 15 live service games development and their potential problems with the CEO leaving and more. I think Sony has a rough patch coming up. Potentially. It's a good segue. Good segue. Third story. If you guys like what we're doing here, make sure you hit that like button down below. We do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. All we do is read the news and just have a conversation with you guys in chat. Chat is 100% part of the conversation. So why PlayStation fans are cheering for CEO's departure. Now, Jim Ryan oversaw the successful launch of PlayStation 5. His 4-year tenure is also married by several flubs. Now, this comes from Jason Schreier. He says, "Hi, everyone. Today, I was trying to figure out why gamers rooted for the departure of PlayStation boss Jim Ryan. But first, this week's top gaming news." Okay. He says, "Video game enthusiasts don't normally care too much about executives' shuffle. But news this week of the retirement of Jim Ryan, boss of Sony PlayStation, evoked an odd reaction from gamers. Okay. They were cheering." He says, "When I broke the news of Ryan's departure Wednesday afternoon, I'm mildly surprised by seeing the barrage of celebratory gifs that memes and also PlayStation fans declare that they were thrilled to see him go. After all, he oversaw the successful launch of PlayStation 5, and he released the hit games such as God of War, Ragnarok, and Horizon Forbidden West. Wasn't he doing a decent job? ? Yet Ryan's 4-year tenure was also marred by controversy in the parts because of his tendency to lift up his foot and insert it into his mouth. Ryan, marketing guy who started at Sony in 1994, worked at various roles across the organization, mostly in Europe, before taking the role as president in 2019. In contrast to previous faces in PlayStation, such as the Sean Linden in the video game loving Soshi Yoshida, Ryan came off as many fans as a slick corporate businessman, and that is. And when he was also ranking up embarrassing. Now, at one point, infuriated retro game fans previously by saying that the old PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games looked ancient. Like, why would anybody play this? Another time was touting the company's accomplishments in Europe and Asia, and Ryan claimed that people had never played games before PlayStation in the Middle East, which was false. Perhaps the biggest flub came in 2022, just after the Supreme Court overturned Roe versus Wade. Rather than take the stance of abortion rights, as some staff of Hope Ryan wrote, we owe it to each other and the PlayStation millions of users to respect differences and opinions amongst everyone in our internal and external communities, as well as reported at the time that he went to tell a goofy story about his cats and his desire to get a dog. A corporation abstaining from supporting abortion rights was not a huge surprise, but lighthearted emails came off as tone deaf to many PlayStation employees who took internal channels to express their dismay. Insomniac Games and PlayStation-owned studio behind Spider-Man went to make a $50,000 donation to a women's rights organization, but forbidden from speaking publicly about it. Communications mistakes aside, Ryan's 4-year tenure as boss for PlayStation had mixed results. The PlayStation 5 has sold more than 40 million units, more than double the rival Xbox, if not at the quit as rapid as a clip as previous PlayStation 4. Now, the console was hampered for years due to the COVID-related supply issues and also had mostly abated. Now, it also sees a handful of well-reviewed exclusives such as Demon's Souls and Final Fantasy 16, although it still doesn't feel like the next generation of video games has really started, despite the fact that 3 years in and the console undoubtedly is successful. But over the last 2 years, Ryan has overseen the PlayStation shift towards games as a service, a popular industry buzzword referring to video games, usually multiplayer, and that can also be monetized over long periods of time, has been an uncomfortable pivot for some of the Sony studios, which have spent the last decade building out teams and experienced developers to make big cinematic adventure games and then played solo. Those single-player blockbusters are still in works, and one Spider-Man 2 will come out on PlayStation 5 in just a few weeks, but Sony's stable of game studios such as Naughty Dog, Last of Us, Insomniac Spider-Man, and Guerrilla Games Horizon also have been working on multiple multiplayer service games with mixed levels of success. Most have not been revealed yet, and some have been canceled or overhauled, such as online games based on The Last of Us. Now, game development teams have spent years working together and to cultivate a certain style, often making a drastic pivot from familiar genre to gaming or something brand. Each distraught results. Now, these ask the developer of Anthem games as a service is particularly difficult to create, as a required formula that gets the gamers consistently playing over a long period of time, which is very different to ask than a single-player story. Now, earlier last year, Ryan helmed Sony acquisition of Destiny maker Bungie, one of the top service games developers in the world, and hopes to accelerate its pivot. But it took Bungie decades to develop a team's technology and production pipelines that have Destiny successful, and even so, they had some serious growing pains along the way. Even Bungie expertise has not yet been able to turn PlayStation Studios into a service game factory. They just bought them, right, like a year ago? I don't think there's been enough time yet, but we'll see. A few years ago, service games were the hottest thing in the industry, but now even the sensation of Fortnite isn't making as much money as it once did. The bet on multiplayer games not to pay off the way that Ryan and his team had once hoped. Now, with Ryan on his way out, and there's a lot of questions asking about the strategic future of PlayStation, some insiders are worried about the company's lack of coherent vision with the seemingly misplacing bets on service games. Niche VR headsets and baffling machine called PlayStation Portal allows people to play PlayStation 5 games on the go, but only by streaming them from a home PlayStation 5 via Wi-Fi. This is not yet clear to who succeeds Ryan, but whoever it is will be also had a tough task on their hands before trying to avoid IRE, the video game fans. So it's interesting to see that people are upset, or not upset, that are happy that Ryan left, because they were just months ago were like in all celebration that, hey, Ryan's fighting for PlayStation to stop the Xbox deal going through, and now he's like, I'm retiring, and everyone's like, good, don't let the door kick you on the way out. We were gonna suck without you, or we're gonna be much better off without you. And I'm like, how does that work? Right now, I am not a Xbox fan or a PlayStation fan or a Nintendo fan. I am just a gamer. To me, it doesn't really matter if a CEO leaves, because overall the vision of the company is the vision of the company, right? It's the spokesperson of this, right? Like, obviously I don't want to get political here, but the president of the United States, right, says certain things, but no matter who you put in place there, the world's going to continue going around and around, and things are going to happen with or without that person in. It's just, who you want to hate more or less. Okay. Now, while PlayStation fans are cheering that Jim Ryan's leaving, I don't know if this is to say that everyone that's PlayStation fans, maybe the people that are tapped in, are upset or excited that he's leaving. I said this last week. I don't think it changes. I think Jim Ryan, the plan that he has, someone else that comes in already has that, right? Because the board of directors decides on what's happening. Where the game's going, where the industry's going, what are they going to pivot to? Now, I did say, personally, I said I'm a little concerned that PlayStation, if they do these 10 to 12 live service games and they're taking 60% and putting it towards it. People have arguments all the time of saying, well, if they put PvP in a game, then they can't make PvE better because they're separated in two different places. Well, if the studio is focusing on live service games, that means they're not focusing on these single player games that they're known for. Do you think it's ironic that Jim Ryan said that, before he left, just a couple days before, that we're constantly going to be continuously doing the single player? It's going to be the bedrock of what PlayStation is, because obviously he doesn't want people to go, wait a minute, just announced 10 to 12 games in the next 3 years. And does that mean you're taking and pushing away from the single player games? He's like, no, we're staying with it. And then he's like, I'm retiring. So it looks a little weird. Timing's a little strange. And I said last week on the podcast and GXG, and just before that on a morning show, I said I think Jim Ryan was, I kind of agree with Mo. Mo said he's kind of pushed out, and I was like, well, how would that work? And maybe his vision of single player games wasn't the same as what the rest of the company wanted. They're like, look, they're making all this money with microtransactions and live service games, third party. We can do this as well. The pitch from, we lost Call of Duty, right? They lost Call of Duty, even though Call of Duty is still going to be on their system. They can't depend on it anymore because now a percentage of that money is going towards their competitor. Okay, so they have to figure out ways to make more money. Third-party games, even if it's live service, a percentage of their money is still going away to the other people that are on their platforms, but they're making a majority of the money. But they want to go live service. Well, if they go live service, those games probably are not going to be the most shiny, thing that could possibly be. They got to get out as fast as possible so they can start monetizing and making money off of those things, see what sticks. Out of the 10, they even said not all the games are being successful, but the more they do, the more possibility that they can make better games or make more money off those games. They only need one hit, right? Out of the 10 games they put out, they only need one to really make a big dent in the industry, right? If they find that next Call of Duty game, or if they find that next Grand Theft Auto Online type of game, that's all they need. So they have to make 10 or 12 to try to make it. Well, again, if they're putting 10 to 12 time into those games, can they still support the studios that they make first-party titles when their budget is going more towards the live service games? That's for you to decide. Let me know in the comment section down below. And let me know what you guys think inside the chat. So let's go back to what you guys are saying here. I think Sony has money to take two. Okay. Do you think it's possible because I played a vastly superior Red Dead first, then they tried the GTA? Maybe this is why I feel like it's just What do you mean, Travis, as far as superior Red Dead? Like Red Dead 1? Because Red Dead 1 wasn't the first Red Dead game. And if you played the Red Dead Revolver, that was a much shittier game than Red Dead. Let's be honest. The reason people are cheering because Norman Osborn was right. The one thing people love more of a hero is the one that fail to die trying. Go on, Robert Jones. Go on, Records. Ryan's biggest W is Bungie, or is there anything else bigger? I would say his biggest success, personally, is not Bungie, because we don't know what Bungie's doing yet for them, right? I think their biggest thing because I do predict that Bungie will leave Sony in the next 5 years. I do. I don't think I think they separate just like they do everybody else. That's just Bungie's MO. Okay? Because even in the deal, yeah, Sony owns them, but they run independently, and they probably have some sort of contract where if they want, they can get out of it. I don't want to say Ryan's best thing is Bungie, because we don't know what that's going to do yet. I think his biggest thing, that he got the PlayStation 5 to be almost as popular as the PlayStation 4 during a pandemic with a shortage, and still got the PSVR 1 and 2 out, right? He's got this other handheld out, and he's also pushed the console where they made 40 million sales. I think that's the biggest win for him. I'm with you, 30. I don't care what platform games are released on. All I care about is good games. Yeah. And I think good games across no matter what, right? Even if God of War is only on PlayStation Water, because that game is good, other people see it, sort of like Baldur's Gate 3, and people go, man, I want to thrive to make, or strive to make a game like that. Right? A good game makes other people want to make their games good. Let's see. Come on, Mo. Morning. He's leaving because of the eternal strife and the personal reason. I can't say without putting a friend at risk. Travis, are you saying you know more about the Jim Ryan thing than what's reported? Is that what you're saying because of a friend? Titan says, it seems the flip announcement, a lot of live service games to the announcement of a single player as Bedrock. Wild. It seems the flip of the announcement of a lot of live service games to the announcement of a single player Bedrock. It's just weird that he said that right before he left, in my eyes, Titan. Like, he's saying that to be like, hey, no, Bedrock is we're still doing single player games. Because Red Dead had a better plot, and I prefer historical fiction over current day. So are you saying you're comparing Red Dead to Grand Theft Auto? Is that what you're saying, Travis? I don't know where you're going with your stuff. Sorry, because I'm bouncing back and forth between a bunch of stuff. Bungie is fucking bloodsucker. This is what they've been since leaving Microsoft and Halo. Yeah, they have major issues at Bungie spending money and how they use their money wisely, I should say. I think the scalper sold more PlayStation 5s than Jim did. That's good, Verbal. Yeah, but the friend also had a NDA, so I won't get him in trouble. Yes, but that friend has an NDA, so I won't get him in trouble. Just to put it in perspective, I don't know who your friend is, and you didn't sign an NDA. And if your friend told you, then he's already fucked up his NDA. Just saying. I'm not going to push any more than that. But if your friend signed an NDA and then he said something to you, he's already fucked himself. What's going on, Quest? Working Lurkin, did you mention about the Fortnite faction of COD with the character skins? I didn't. I don't know what that is. What is that story, Quest? Titan says, hopefully that the investors that say the Bedrock comment and Jim didn't agree with and then left. I think Titan that Jim wanted to stay true and tried and true. He wanted to stick with the PlayStation. He said, look, we built PlayStation on these IPs and this is what we should do. And I think, again, this is just my opinion, I think that the board saw that they can make more money and they kind of see the writing on the wall that where the industry is going with the digital games and how they're going to make more money because there's going to be a saturation point that no matter what happens, even if PlayStation 5 sells 200 million units, which would be 80 million more units than they sold on PlayStation 4s or like 78 million more, that's the top. That's it. And I think that how do they make more money without selling more consoles? And the way you make more money without selling more consoles is by selling microtransactions and live service games. And I think Jim Ryan was like, look, we don't need all of that. We can survive just on this. And I think the board was like, yeah, no, this is what we're doing. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to retire. That's the way I kind of feel. Obviously, that's just my opinion. We won't know the truth. Maybe down the road we'll find out the truth, but that's just it. We'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell. In that case, supposedly Jim Ryan is going to have a major surgery very soon, something to do with his kidneys. All right, so he has like a life realization that before his surgery, he wants to go spend time with his kids and his family and whatnot. That's understandable. I guess we'll find out. Time will tell. I think Jim was trying to move that way, and the board wanted it normally. It normal. You think Mo that Ryan was trying to move? So you think the opposite of me? You think that Ryan was trying to go live service, and the board wanted to stay true? If that was the case, then wouldn't they just not do the live service games? At some point, you got to question, I'm willing to give up and stay here with people I don't like. Jim told a PlayStation gamers they're not enough. Jim told PlayStation gamers. Is there a source that he said that? Well, not enough for what, though? It's too late to stop the train. It's that. What are you talking about? They announced it just a couple of months ago that they're doing live service games. They can stop that easily. I mean, it's not like he had this plan for live service games 4 years ago when he took over. And then why would he say right before he left, 2 days before he announced his retirement, that the single player games are the bedrock of PlayStation? They've probably been in production for a while. Yeah, but you still have to tell your board, right? The people that are investors in that company. I think the opposite. What you're saying is that Ryan wanted the live service games, and I'm thinking the board wanted live service games, hence why they're pushing forward. Hence why they bought Bungie. I appreciate that, Quest. Oh, okay, I get it now. So you're saying that Call of Duty continues to Fortnite-fication their new skins from Diablo, Spawn, and He-Man. So you're saying they're doing what Fortnite's doing. They're trying to do what Fortnite's doing by getting all these IPs and then bring them into to Call of Duty. Gotcha. They got Spawn and Call of Duty now. See, I'm out on that stuff. We talked about it a little bit a couple months ago when they started bringing like Godzilla and like King Kong events in there. I was like, oh, they're trying to do what Fortnite's doing with the live events and stuff. And I said they've lost their identity. Like Call of Duty's lost its identity. I haven't played for over a decade, so it's not for me, and I get that, right? I don't say that Call of Duty is shit, but Call of Duty is shit for me, right? Except maybe he did and just didn't reveal it. He said he also got someone thinking coming up. It would be stupid to keep his quit till it's too late. Live service games are being built off of the foundation of single player games. He didn't get pushed out. Overpaid for Bungie? Oh no, they didn't overpay. Overpaid, Mo, would have been when Bungie wanted $7 billion and Microsoft said no. And then they went to go buy Bethesda. Because Microsoft said no to Bungie and then bought Bethesda for $7.2 billion, that's why Bungie couldn't ask for $7 billion anymore. So PlayStation or Sony should write a thank you note to Microsoft because they refused to pay Bungie what they were asking for $7 billion. And they went to go buy a bigger company that had much more IPs, okay, across the decades and who they worked with, okay? And that's why they chose Bethesda, ZeniMax, over Bungie. And then Bungie cut their deal in half and made it into $3 billion. Maybe they still overpaid, but it would have been massively overpaid if it was if Microsoft didn't buy Bethesda ZeniMax for $7 billion. I'll agree with you, Mo. The more I thought about it, I do believe he got pushed out. But I think he got pushed out from the opposite reason you're saying. You're saying he got pushed out because you think he's the reason the live service games are coming through. I think he got pushed out because the board was in a different vision than him, and he didn't want to be a part of it, and that's why he left. Now, both of us could be 100% wrong, and it could be that he's leaving just because he wants to retire. I'm on Mo's side. Jim Ryan loved live service. There's no proof of that though. If he loved live service, then how come there wasn't any live service up until this point? What's the live service game? Final Fantasy 14? That was there before Jim Ryan got there. What live service game? What was PlayStation doing live service the 4 years that he had it? It's not like live service wasn't popular 4 years ago. Godfall, but that wasn't made by PlayStation Studio. Jim handled the launch of PlayStation 5 during a pandemic, broke companies' records with PlayStation 5 launch, PSVR launched, accessible controller, changed PlayStation Plus to what it is. And that's what I'm saying. He brought products, right? Basically did what Nintendo did. As much peripherals as possible, like hardware stuff. But that would only be a proof, Mo, if Sony put their money into that. Did Sony pay for Babylon Fall? Did Sony pay for Godfall? If they did, then there might be some breadcrumb trails. But if it's just a publisher that used because they wanted to be on one platform before, then maybe. So PlayStation paid for Godfall? If they paid for time exclusive is different than paid for what they did for like No Man's Sky. Counterplay Games. Okay, Godfall is an action role-playing game developer by Counterplay Games and published by Gearbox Publishing. The game was released on PlayStation 5 and Windows on November 12th, and the game also released on PlayStation 4 on August 10th. Yeah, Gearbox Publishing. Let's see. Owner is Embracer Group. No. Jim Ryan wasn't there for No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky came out 7 years ago, and he's only been part of it for 4 years. He's worked for PlayStation for 30 years, but he was the head for only 4. So he had nothing to do with No Man's Sky. Jim also said he hated the 2 weeks in U.S., 1 week in Japan, 1 week in Europe every month, and then the retirement age isn't uncommon. Millionaires retire late 40s, early 50s. We talked about that last week. Travel is a bitch, man. Travel is real. I hated being on the road 230 days. You don't have to be the head to have people's ears dirty. I don't know what that means. What was the other game you said? Babylon's Fall? Let's see. Babylon's Fall, developer Platinum Games. Yeah, they're not owned by so both companies of the two games that you named, Mo, right? That made Babylon's Fall and Godfall, okay, are not owned by PlayStation. So they paid for exclusive for a time frame, right? But they didn't publish the game or anything for them. I mean, a person who isn't ahead of the powers is also listening to. So Travis, what you're saying is that you're saying now, based on if Jesse Mack said No Man's Sky, Jim was there for that. So you're saying that Jim Ryan had something to do with No Man's Sky. That's what you're claiming. That's a big claim, considering he wasn't the head of the studio. Had nothing to do with that part. But hey, you're saying it's possible? Sure. And shit could fall out of the sky any moment because, whatever. Right? It rains shit. So Jim Ryan could have been, I don't know, in a completely different area, not even part of the gaming section, but they listened to him, and he's like, hey, you know what? No Man's Sky, we should pay for that. Like, you're reaching. Maybe if No Man's Sky came out in 2019 when he came in, and it was published that year, then I could say, yeah, he had something to do with it. You mean like how GTA 6 rumors are reaching? What does that have to do with what we're talking about with Jim Ryan? How does fan talking about rumors and leaks connect with Jim Ryan having something to do with No Man's Sky when he wasn't even part of the... Please connect the dots to me, right? Because right now, this is you, right? That's you, Travis. He was there, so he should get credit. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Mo's reaching a little bit by saying Platinum Games, Babylon Fall, and Godfall were the live service games from Jim Ryan as well. And those games were well in production before Jim Ryan. Yeah, it's a Halo Reach Day. Production of the game of Babylon's Fall, just to let you know, was started in 2017. That's 2 years prior to Jim Ryan taking over in PlayStation. Jim Ryan's games haven't even come out yet. I mean, technically, the games that he had hands in to change and adapt to, you could say Horizon, even though it was in production beforehand, right? And God of War that came out in 2018, and then the next one started working in 2019. 100%, I would say his games came out. I would say that he had more involvement, right, with those games. Oh, live service, but I'm telling you right now, I don't think live service he wanted to do at all. You're making a claim that his live service games, he wanted to go more towards live service. My claim is that he didn't want to go towards live service, hence why he's not with the company anymore. Because PlayStation wanted to go live service. Jim Ryan made a statement that first-party titles are going to be our bedrock. Don't worry. Keeping insurance to the actual fans of PlayStation going, hey, don't worry about it. All these live service games are coming out, but we're still going to be the bedrock is going to be the first play, the first player, single player aspect of PlayStation games. PlayStation doesn't want to go live service. That would be different, wouldn't it? Because what I'm saying, Travis, is they do. Hence why Jim Ryan doesn't want to be a part of it anymore. But again, I'm making claims, you're making claims. My claims at least have some sort of substance there. Third claim says he pushed too hard into live service and investors didn't like it. But if that's the case, though, Titan, then why don't they just stop it? Like right now, and why not come out with something and say, because they're not working on all 10 games right now, right? And if they were, there's games that are coming out next year that they could still work on. They're like, hey, you know what? Let's not eat those costs, but let's not start anything else up to that point. Why wouldn't they stop that? Why would they be like, nope, sorry, train's going, dotted line. There's games canceled all the time when they're like 90% complete. They're like, nah, let's take that down. You're telling me all 10 to 12 games right now are in full development. They're like, nope, sorry, can't cancel the 10 to 12 games. Because he was adamant about a lot of live service games, but he's no longer there. You're telling me right now where something's not even enough to get even developed. They're like in the planning stages of majority of those 10 to 12 games. Not even code on the goddamn computer yet. You think in 6 months, Travis, those games are going to change completely different? April 1st is when he's leaving. When he's done. Right? Why would the board kick Jim go full-blown into live service? Japan is known for traditional single-player games in their tradition. It's also not rocket science to build new things off. We had a conversation last week. If you want to take Last of Us, which they are, if you want to take God of War and make a multiplayer, if you want to take the IPs that you already have, but what you guys are saying is that you're saying that he got pushed out because he wanted live service games. And what I'm saying to you is right now, the board goes, okay, we got rid of him. And we're still going to go ahead with live service, even though we negate what he wanted to do. Does that make sense? Does that make sense that they got rid of him in your head? They got rid of him, but yet they're like, well, we're stuck. We got to do the 10 to 12 live service games. Yeah, we can't change it. They cancel, what will they have? Their first-party titles. They'll still have their first-party titles. Whatever those first-party titles are, Mo, that's what they have. Krebsy, I agree. I said I think he's just done. But I'm leaning in towards if he did leave and they pushed him out, right? At least the point that I'm making is there's actual substance there and it's plausible. But to say that he wanted live service games and PlayStation didn't, then they get rid of him, but yet they're still moving forward with live service games makes no sense if that's the case that people want to go. Right? You could literally make, let's see, you can make a God of War 3, right? Whatever that is. You can make a Spider-Man 3. You can make a Last of Us 3. You can make a Uncharted 5. You can make, like, they have IPs that they can have already in the background, and that's just ones they already know about, right? They're making the Horizon MMO, which was in the works. That's true, Travis. If they come back and all of a sudden now they're canceled, cool. Sony has never seen as successful as they are now with Jim Ryan. They're blowing away Xbox sales. Right. And B, right? Ryan, during a pandemic, Phil did the exact same thing, right? He worked with the systems that were being hindered, right? But what Phil did and what Ryan did, Ryan sold double the amount of systems. Okay, now, obviously, Phil Spencer wasn't trying to sell systems. He's trying to sell Game Pass. But regardless, Jim Ryan sold the most consoles during that period besides Nintendo. Nintendo sold a shit ton. Okay, but what I'm saying is, why would they fire him? Because he was the most profitable during a pandemic, okay, and with a supply shortage, and they almost sold as many PlayStation 5s as 4s, and there was never a problem back then. Also, the last 5 or 6 CEOs, people like Jim stayed for 4 to 5 years, minus one of them stayed for 2. Jim will be around for 5 years in 2020. I think he knew the Portal was going to flop. I don't understand the Portal. I know people are like, oh, I want to play my games. I don't understand, right? The mind in my head goes, okay, $300 gets me to play on a small screen, and I can play that in the next bedroom when my wife wants to use the television set. Or, hear me out, I can get another television set for $200 and just put a cable in, and then there it is. I don't know. It's just weird to me. I think it's a weird market. I'm not saying there's no market, but it's a very slight market that's there. I don't think this thing goes on and sells 400 million units or anything like that, right? To sell as many units as PlayStations are right now, that would mean that everyone that owns a PlayStation bought it, because you can't just buy it to play because it's playing off of your actual PlayStation. Vandal says he definitely got the boot. How do you retire and then don't have a successor? Right. That's a good point, right? But he does have a successor. They just don't know who it is yet. And that's a good way, though, to not spend more money, right? If you get one person out the door and the person that's already taking his job, why give a person a raise to give them money when you could just wait for the end of the year and then hire the person for the next fiscal year? Hence why his last day, even though he's already gone, is April, because that's the beginning of the next year. It's the end of this fiscal year. Hence, March 30th is the last day of the fiscal year. So if they find a successor, he's not getting put into place until the next fiscal year. It's $200, not $300. Okay, Rose, regardless, you can still buy a television set. And instead of playing on a 7, this is coming from you, by the way, that said you wouldn't play on a mobile device. Right? So I would assume that you agree with me that you could just go out and buy a television set that's 10 times the size of the thing that's in your hand, and all you got to do is unplug the HDMI and plug it into another TV and go, my wife wanted to use the television, so I just moved my Xbox or my PlayStation or whatever. but really just buying it to play my PC games and watch movies on. Are you picking up the Portal? Oh, you're not buying the Portal. You're grabbing a Meta Quest. Gotcha. The Portal weight is what can it be used? Say my cousin's at work or has to be in the same house. It has to be on a Wi-Fi network, and it links up to your Xbox. Okay, so it's basically doing what this does right here, right? If I click on my app, right, in my phone, there's a little button up here that I can click, and right here it says play on this device, right? Remote play on this device, right? Now my Xbox is not on, but now all of a sudden, now my Xbox is now remote playing on this device. So as long as I had a controller, right, I can now play on my phone. Okay? I just have to look, that's my thing, right? And if I hooked up my controller right now, it would be able to move. That's it. That is exactly what the Portal's doing. Okay? On that dedicated device that you have to pay. Now, $200 is fantastic, right? It's a nice little low price, but it's like, why? Because someone's using my television set, and now I can just pick up this small device and play? You can do that right now if you have a PlayStation. Doing the exact same thing I just did. Everyone's like, well, I really want to use the controller. You could use your PlayStation controller. Right? You could literally do it on the device that you already have if you wanted to. Now, obviously, if you don't want to get notifications or whatever on your cell phone, your iPad, then sure, you can buy it. I'm not saying there's no market. I'm just saying it's really weird market because, again, the only person that can buy that is a person that already owns a PlayStation. You're not buying that to then play PlayStation games on it. You have to have a PlayStation to access your library on that device. Well, I'm not buying it. The main reason I would have bought one. I would have also, if my kid was on my PlayStation 5, I could also pick that up and play, but you can't. Right. And that's another thing, Rose. Like, I can understand if it was a portable device and like I'm playing on PlayStation and then my son wants to play and he wants to play and I give him this and he can play with me, but you can't. You got to access your account and then take it. You know what I mean? Like this weekend when we went to Daytona, okay, and we were in the hotel, right? I had my phone, my son had his phone or his iPad, and he got to play his Xbox through the iPad, and I got to play my Xbox through my iPad. Okay? And all we did was bring the iPads that we already had and the controller. That was it. Portal failed so much that it's sold out in Japan and the US Amazon. You know what sold out means, right? It means that you need to make more because the market bought more than expected. Well, Krebsy, to be fair, how many did they make? Do we know how many they made? Because they could have made 10 and then it sold out. And they say, well, it's sold out. But how many did they make? And again, the only people that can buy it are people that own a PlayStation. So the max right now, the max amount of people that can buy that device is 40 million. Now, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying nobody outside that doesn't own a PlayStation can buy that Portal. Yeah, you can remote play. Yeah, you use the PlayStation app. Was Portal a port? No. The device of the Portal itself, Lazy Boy, is literally just taking your games and it's streaming it to your device. It's not a port. It's not like a separate game. It's literally running the games from your PlayStation over to that device. Like I said, if they did a PSP refresh, it would have sold better. I probably would have considered getting one. Right. I think that the marketing of it is just that if you have a PlayStation 5, then this is something else that you can put on. Right? But if you don't have a PlayStation, then there's no reason to get this. Right? It doesn't do anything for you. At the end of the day, if everyone that owns a PlayStation buys it, that's 40 million units. Like, how many did they sell? Three days ago. PlayStation Portal pre-orders have reportedly sold out in Japan across all retailers. Okay, how many is that? They don't tell you a number. What was the pre-orders? Could be 5, could be 5 million, could be 10, could be 10 million. What's the number? Sony made the amount of units they thought the public would demand. The public demanded more units, and Sony allocated, meaning the Portal success Sony sales expectations. But again, we don't know what that number is. They could have thought that 100 people were gonna pre-order it, and instead 102 people bought, and it sold out. We don't know what that number is. I mean, there's an article right here, Dupless, right? PlayStation Portal pre-orders have reportedly sold out, but what's that number? What's the number? That doesn't impress me. If I bake two sheets of cookies, and they have 50 cookies on each sheet, that's 100 cookies, and I pre-order them, and 200 people wanted to buy my cookies, I sold out. Great. Sounds impressive when I say I sold out all my cookies, but you don't know how many cookies I made. That's all I'm saying. I mean, congratulations. They sold out. But what do they sell? Now, if they came out and said, 5 million units pre-ordered, sold out 5 million units, you'd be like, wow, 5 million units of the 40 million people that own a PlayStation. That's impressive. Right? That's impressive. But we don't know the number. They don't want to tell you that number because that number probably doesn't sound as impressive as reportedly pre-orders have sold out. Now, if it comes out and says at a time that we sold out 5 million units, I'll be like, damn, that's a lot of people for a small device that only plays your games that you already have on the thing that you already own. I'm trying to find if anything else. What was it? What was it called? The PlayStation Vita? Is that what it was called? Let's see. The initial launch sales were generally seen as a positive selling over 300,000 units in Japan and 200,000 units in North America. All right, so the initial launch of PS Vita back in the day sold 500,000 units when it came out. So now I'll ask you, do you think the Portal, when they finally tell you sales numbers, do you think sold more or less than the PS Vita? The PS Vita. Does it work for PlayStation 4? I'm not sure. I don't want to say yes or no before. Let me see. PlayStation Portal Remote Player can play compatible games you have installed on your PlayStation 5 console, including your favorite games for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. Can you use PlayStation Portal without PlayStation 5? You can only enable remote play on your PlayStation 5 using Wi-Fi. Let's go to the actual site here. Let's see. They have frequently asked questions. I mean, it literally says for PlayStation 5. Can you play Portal Remote Play only on the Wi-Fi network? Is PlayStation membership required? No, they don't. I think it's only PlayStation 5. I think it's PlayStation 4 games that are for the 5, but I don't think it plays PlayStation 5, or it doesn't play PlayStation 4. Tony Pony Cope is off the charts here today. How's the data breach going? Sold out cookies. I made 5 cookies. You know what, Vandal? Congratulations. You sold out. You sold out your pre-orders of 5 cookies. It's amazing. We're going to put a title above. Vandal sells pre-order of cookies. Sold out. Amazing. I'm gonna say more, but I don't have the number of Portal while weird to me. I think it's gonna sell well. I mean, but what does well mean? Does that mean millions of units, tens of millions of units? What's well in when you say well, Rose? Like if the Vita sold at launch 500,000 and that played games on the go, like mobile games on the go, and it only sold 500,000, 300,000 in in Asia. People are gonna buy that thing not knowing it's not standalone handheld. That's gonna suck. That's gonna suck, Dolphin. Are they doing that, Jesse? Loki comes out on Thursday, the day after. Man, they really want you to. They didn't want you to wait that week. People are like, we're canceling our Disney Plus after Ahsoka episode 8, and they're like, oh no, don't cancel yet. Loki season 2 coming out. I'm trying to look to see if it. I'm trying to look and see if it actually. Yeah, the frequently asked questions. I think it's just for PlayStation 5. They make it very specific. Let's see. The quality and connectivity of your PlayStation experience may vary depending on your network environment. A PlayStation 5 console and account for PlayStation Network is required. You need the 5. You cannot have a 4. So it's only for the 5. So again, if they sell 500,000 out of the 40 million, is that a success? I don't know. I'm not them, right? Whatever this device cost them based on the amount they sold, do they make their money back and go, hey, you know what? This is a good idea. People are interested in this. Now, if I could play PlayStation 5 games on that device and I didn't have to own a PlayStation 5 and I could just play like that was a portable device like a Switch, then I might buy that instead of a PlayStation 5 because I would play that, right? Especially if I had like a HDMI output and stuff like that to play on a monitor and I could just sit here and play. Then I would maybe buy that if it was the same, no quality given up on anything. It was just that's what it was. Now that would be interesting. But just being a portal for the PlayStation 5, that's I'm like, so I gotta pay $500 for this and then $200 for this. 400K sold now would be a failure. Back then the Vita came out, it wasn't. Well, actually, I mean it was successful. Positive. It wasn't successful. It was positive selling that. Yeah, let's see what the total sales were. Okay. Through Sony, has not released exact figures, right? It says estimated around 15 to 16 million units in the platform later years. Sony promoted the PlayStation Vita ability to work in conjunction with their other game products, such as the remote play of PlayStation 4 games, similar to the Wii U's function off TV play. Okay. So they say, but there's no official, there's estimates around 15 to 16 million. So 122 million PlayStation 4s in circulation and an additional 15 million PlayStation Vitas. How many of those people that already own a PlayStation 4 bought the portable device on top of that? I don't know. Now I had a PlayStation portable PSP back in the day. First released in Japan in the end of 2004, worldwide in 2005, and the PlayStation Portable was a handcrafted game console developed by Sony. As of September of 2023, has sold over 80.79 million units across the world, including over 21 million units in North America. That's successful, right? That literally sold more than Xbox, right? Now, that's mind-blowing to me that they didn't make a portable unit that did exactly what the PSP did. And that was a separate, it wasn't even like that was just like a Game Boy. You know what I mean? What Nintendo made for Game Boy. Why wouldn't you make something like that to run the games now? That's a good standalone. Maybe Steam Deck and handheld market is too competitive. True, and that's another thing. It's a good point, right, Titan? That when they came out with their other handhelds, there wasn't as many people in the handheld market. Now there's like 4 or 5 different units out there. Plus, you're competing with the mobile phones and the tablets because they can just play the games on the actual phone and whatnot. Group Papa says, also, I'm having actually kind of fun with Redfall because I can laugh at the game since I didn't pay to play it. normal arcane game. This is why I don't buy arcane games. Yeah, well, we Travis and I in Discord, he said, can people like have more fun if you paid less for a game? 100%, right? If you paid $125 for Battlefield 2042 when it came out, okay, and it was broken, bugging, you had to wait 18 months, you're infuriated. Like, you're furious, right? But if you didn't pay a goddamn thing for Battlefield and you put it in the game right now and you start playing, you're like, man, I'm having a blast, right? Because you didn't invest that $70, $80, $100, $125 in a game that you had to wait 18 months to play. You waited 18 months and then played a game that was absolutely nothing to you, right? And you're having a blast with it. I will use the 400,000 number. If people bought 400,000, but Sony made 350,000, now that is a failure. Now, Sony only makes as many products they believe the market would buy. The product selling out means that the sales expectations got exceeded. Yeah, but we don't know what that number is, though, Krebsy, right? They could have said, hey, let's make 100,000 units, okay, and then it sells out. But you don't know if the remainder of the people that are interested in that is 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, right? You don't know that number. You're like, all right, well, it's sold out 100,000 units in this time. Let's make another 100,000 units and see what sells. And then all of a sudden, only 50,000 sell. And they're like, well, that's it. It doesn't matter what the number is. 100% it matters what the fucking number is, right? If I make a board game and I have to do a print run, okay, of 5,000 units, okay, but I'm only thinking I'm going to sell 1,000 units, but I have to do a minimum of 5,000 units, okay? That's a fail, right? I sell out my 1,000, but I'm sitting on 4,000, but the remainder of the people, okay, don't buy it, and now I'm sitting on 3,000 units that are not going to be sold. What do I do then? Sony calculated it well. Okay, you don't know that number, though. And then when they go back to make the next run, it's not like they're making a digital product here. They have to actually manufacture these things. And they have to know what they think their clientele market is. So sure, they could have sold 100,000, they could have sold 1 million, and it could have sold out right away. But we don't know what that number is. So you telling me that they sold out of their pre-orders means absolutely nothing to me because they don't tell you a number. If they were really excited about that number, they would tell you. They would tell you a number. It makes no sense why they would make a mobile device that's not portable. PSP has the competition with the Nintendo DS back in the day. Like, you're limited, literally, you're limited to the people that only bought the console. That's your clientele. I don't care if they got Notre Dame themselves and said, make 1 million units, and they sell it. At the end of the day, they didn't tell you a number. So you don't know how big or small that number is. We don't know what they think would be successful. If they're like, hey, we're only going to sell 100, and they sell 1,000, they could be overwhelmed on how many they're selling. At the end of the day, they didn't tell you a number. So it doesn't matter that they sold out because you do not know the number. When they come out and say, we sold 1 million units, sold out, 30 minutes, and you're like, wow, 1 million units, that's fantastic. Then that's actual factual stuff. And you go, oh, they sold out that in 30 minutes, 1 million units. Great. What's the number? Let us know what the number is. You could try to explain it to me 18 times. I'm telling you, if they don't tell you the number, it doesn't fucking matter if they say it's sold out. Guys, the most people ever to watch me happening right now. The most ever. The most ever watching me. What's the number? I'm not going to tell you that number. But the most ever is what's watching me right now. Don't look at that number down below that says 30. Okay? The most ever are watching me right now. When I started my stream, more people were here than ever before. Ever before. More people were here at the beginning of the stream than ever before. It's amazing, right? Amazing. Congratulations, 30. More people than ever before were here at the beginning of the stream than ever before. Amazing. And tomorrow, we're going to beat that. But did the channel sell out? It did. It did. I don't want to tell you what I thought was going to come like at the beginning of the stream, but it sold out. It sold out. It was amazing. The best ever. And I paused there on purpose. Right. I paused there on purpose. Most ever. Sold out. I was expecting this many, but then this many people came. Sold out. All these buzzwords. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Like a fucking bee. I want to know the honey. Again, I'm not a fan or a hater. I want hard-earned facts. Right? You sell out something, you let me know what you sold out. And then I'll be like, wow, that's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. But if you don't want to tell me what the sold number is, and I'm not talking about you, Krebsy, I'm talking about Sony. If you put something out there that says that they sold out, great. What did you sell out? Let me know what that number is. I get points on both sides. Sold out is still better than having a lot of stock, so Sony calculated well. Sure, Titan. I'll agree with that. But let me know what that calculated was of what number was their base number that they wanted to sell. Like, what do we think? 3%? 10%? Do we think 10% of the people that own a PlayStation 5 was what they made at the original thing? Right? I mean, your clientele is literally just the people that bought your PlayStation. Nobody else. Nobody else is buying that device except for people that bought the PlayStation. Maybe right now they're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to get a bundle. I'm going to get the Spider-Man bundle. Spider-Man's coming out. And I'm going to get a Portal. Right? And I'm going to get a Portal. So even potential people, but right, they're buying it right now with the PlayStation 5, but they still need a PlayStation 5 to buy that device. I feel bad for the kids on Christmas that the parents don't know. They buy this. This is the exact same thing that happened a couple years ago when people thought they were getting an Xbox Series S or X but instead they got an Xbox One because that was the only thing in stock. And they open it, they're like, oh my God, they opened it up, and they're like, what is this? Like, that's the Xbox. They're like, no, this is the Xbox One. This is old. Here? They're like, it doesn't matter. It's sold out. It's sold out everywhere. This is it. This is what you got. Appreciate the sub. Byron, what's going on? Welcome. What you got? Timmy, sold out. Yeah, but this is the old system, Mom. Doesn't matter. Sold out. Sold out. That's what the guy told me. Sold out everywhere. Yeah, but this is the wrong. Doesn't play games that I want. I wanted a PlayStation 5. I got you this. This is what I got you. Amazing. PlayStation 5 price just went up to 500 to 700. Is that true, or are you just saying that? It didn't go up $200, did it? If the number was just crazy, you would assume that Sony would release the number. 2 million pre-orders, blah, blah, blah. It sounds better if pre-orders sold out. But if it's 1,000 sold out, it's better. Yeah. That's all I'm saying, Silent. I don't care what that number is. Congratulations. They sold out. But what's that number? What's that number? But Krebsy, I don't care if Lorna explains it. Is the number public? That's what I'm asking. There's no public number. So it doesn't matter that they sold out. Oh, if you want a portal, then the price for the console is $700. I got you, because it's $500 plus the $200. I got you. And how many of those are being resold right now? That's true. Let's look it up. Oh yeah, look at that. I wanted to open eBay. $355. Totally worth it. Sold out. Gotta pay $355 now. $379, $369, $360, $375. I mean, if you already have a PlayStation 5 owner, this is just $200 extra. About perspective. Sure. Any of you guys can explain it to me. Show me a number. Yeah, B. I was in Daytona and Tampa this weekend. My wife had I don't want to tell you. She had a birthday party. She had a birthday, and her one of her things that she wanted to do in her life was to watch the sunrise in the East Coast and then watch it set in the West Coast. So we waited till our son left. I usually pick him up on Fridays at 3, but I had a whole bunch of stuff to do Friday morning to get prepared for our trip. So we went to Daytona, watched the got there situated, and then we waited the next morning for the sun to rise, and it was a complete hurricane happened. The seas were rough, couldn't even see the sun come up, but then we traveled across the state and then went to Tampa, yesterday, and then we saw the sun set on Saturday night. So we watched it rise on Saturday, went across the whole state, watched it set in Tampa, and then we stayed in Tampa till about midday yesterday, and then came home. So yeah, all weekend. Scalpers trying to make money. More than half of those sold out units are probably scalpers. Sure. I just want a number. You guys can fluff the thing all you want. I don't care what it is. You could put Starfield sold, PlayStation sold, Portal sold, concert tickets sold. If there's no number, I don't care. You got to tell me what that number is for me to be impressed. Yeah, all pre-orders would say 70% were boys grabbing it to resell. It happened with the Series X and PlayStation 5. It happens to all console accessories. What I would assume, I mean, if I go on, and I'm not going to do this much research because I actually don't care, but if a reseller is selling it on eBay underneath a certain username, and then he's got multiple things, if he has one user selling them under different names, that if one person has 2, 3, 4, and he's not playing them, well, that means absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, it's new tech. People want it. People are gonna, I would hope a lot of these people didn't buy it. Too many of them, like they did with the PlayStation, because again, the only people that are buying this are people that own a PlayStation. Let me ask. Most people ever that are watching me right now, 30 people, those of you that have a PlayStation, are you buying this? How many of you guys are buying this? This is such a niche of a niche. And that's the weird part. Again, I'm not saying it's not going to sell. I'm just saying, your clientele is pretty. Well, they could do what NVIDIA did, Dolphin, right? Was it NVIDIA that did that? Where NVIDIA would buy all their cards and then sell them out because they would sell them for, they would say, oh, it's $300. But then I think NVIDIA got caught doing this. Then they bought all the cards up and then sold them for 4 times the price. And then they were caught selling their own things through another site. We Must Rebel says, not buying serves me no purpose. Yeah, Sony pays scalpers to buy their console because nobody in the world wants Sony. Well, no, boss. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but what I'm saying is NVIDIA was literally caught doing that. They literally had a subsidiary that was underneath their, and they're idiots for doing this, but they literally had a subsidiary that was under the NVIDIA tag that owned by NVIDIA, that bought all the cards and sold them third party so they can make more money after they said that they were for a certain price, to make false claims that they were, sold out or whatnot. Again, I'm not saying Sony did that. I'm just saying people in the past have done that. You're gonna save your money for Switch 2 next year? He just made a Wii U tablet. I mean, I think there's a market for it, but it's very specific, right? So, like, if I only had one television set in my house, and that's where my PlayStation was, and then someone in my family wanted to use it, then I could take my Portal and then start playing it. So while I'm sitting on the couch with the family, they're watching a show, I can play it. Or, I'm traveling somewhere and I take this with me. So now I don't need to take my phone. I don't need to take my tablet, even though you would have your phone. You would have your tablet. And you're traveling somewhere. Then as long as you're on Wi-Fi, then you can connect remotely to your device, like I just did when I was in Daytona, when I was in Tampa, when I go down, right? So yeah, Sony is very much be lying, sitting in the a factory of 1,000 portals, but said it sold out. I believe it's innocent until proven guilty. I didn't say they were guilty of anything. All I said was people hyping it up, and I'm just saying what's the number they sold. If you're going to make a title that says we sold out our pre-orders, okay, what's the pre-orders? How many did you sell out? That's all I said. Again, I have no attachment whatsoever. You guys like to attach things, right? You think I'm being negative towards something or positive towards something when I have no attachment whatsoever. Home Wi-Fi stable Wi-Fi connection. Surely you can use it somewhere outside your home. Sure, Titan. It's doing the exact same thing you can do right now if you have an iPad, an Android device, an iPhone. If you go to the app, if you go to your Sony PlayStation app and click play on this device, remote play on this device, it's basically doing the exact same thing. They make it convenient because they took the controller and they mashed it with the screen. Says nope. It specifically is saying only in your house. I'm reading the website. That can't be. It's only for your house. PlayStation Remote Player gives access to games on the PlayStation 5 over your home Wi-Fi, letting you jump right into gaming without needing to play on a TV. PlayStation Remote Player can play compatible games you have installed on your PlayStation 5 console, including your favorite games from PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4 2. Experience breathtaking immersion, DualSense wireless. Gaming fast. PlayStation Portal Remote Player is a purpose-of-built device dedicated to delivering incredible remote play experience. This means that you can turn it on, press a button, and connect to your PlayStation 5 console and get right to playing remarkable speeds. No TV needed to play, no living room required.
Hello,
Since PlayStation Portable Remote Player lets you stream games over your home Wi-Fi, you can play your PlayStation 5 even with someone else using the TV connected to. Simply turn your PlayStation Portal Remote Player and you're good to go. With PlayStation Portal Remote Player, you're also a home Wi-Fi connection. What does that one mean right there? You can also more flexibly play in any room where you live with no TV required. Keep playing, and also in the kitchen eating breakfast. Go for it. While your home Wi-Fi network represents a great option to use your PlayStation Portal Remote Player, because you have control over quality of your own home Wi-Fi, it does not require PlayStation Portal Remote Player can also be played wherever you have access to broadband internet Wi-Fi with at least 5. Yeah, okay. Thank God. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? For better play experience, a high-speed connection, at least 15 megabits per second, recommended if you're using a public Wi-Fi. Beware that the quality of the internet connection, so you can use it anywhere there's Wi-Fi. Stop it. Wait, what are we talking about? It's exactly like the same thing with your phone, iPad, Android device, any portable device. As long as you have Wi-Fi, I can go to Starbucks and play my PlayStation games. This is why, and no offense to any of you, when you guys say something, I refuse to believe it until I read it myself. Okay? And I read it myself, and then context is everything, right? I am not a person that just bullshits people, right? the show of the name, as it says above me, is we're reading the news, right? We're reading the news. There's physical stuff, right? So all the conversations I have, right? If you tell me something pre-order, it sells out. I just want to know. I just want to know facts. Otherwise, we're just talking out of our asses. Like, it has to be the exact same thing as like what you can do already. Because then if this device was only on your home device, that would be retarded. That would be the worst thing ever created. That hurts 30. You don't believe us? If you want to take it personal, Jones, then by all means go ahead. Oh, I know you're being sarcastic, Jones. Yeah, I know boss rides my back and tells me that I'm a fanboy of one or the other. I truly am not a fan of one side or the other. I just read what it is. If Microsoft came out and said, right, I don't even believe the 10 million of Starfield, right? It'd be like 10 million people. I'll be like, okay, that downloads? Is that playing 5 minutes? Is that the person that literally logged on? I don't believe anything until I know actual facts, right? Marketing, coming from the film industry and coming from the entertainment industry, okay? Lots of people say lots of different things to hype up with the keywords of this and that, okay? Look at what the film industry does. When a movie sells, they're like, it's the hottest movie of the weekend. It's the number one selling at the box office this weekend, on a Tuesday, on a Sunday, on a holiday weekend. They use like little bullet point things to make you sound like it's more, bigger than it actually is. Okay? Blue Beetle bombed at the box office, but it was number one at the box office. Fantastic. Right? You lost money. You didn't make money. Right? Happens all the time. I think I could have just got caught up in a second, right? Because he's usually good at stuff, right? Like Viking a couple weeks ago said, Todd Howard said this. I bring it up, and Todd Howard didn't say that, right? It's just you guys like to fight back and forth because it's fun, but you guys get caught up in the banter back and forth. When you can feel the medication starting to fade and the headache is coming back. Right? You guys on both sides. Even if you're a fan of not even PlayStation or Xbox, you're just a fan of like shitting on other people. Y'all fall to your own will of hating something so much to try to make a point that you disprove yourself sometimes. Yeah, but look at Baba. All you had to do, instead of putting, I'm reading their website, you could have just been like, hold on a second. Oh, yeah, it does say it on there. But instead, you came out and said, this is what it is. And then I did it. And then it proved you wrong, right? And I know you found it after the fact, but you could have stayed silent until you actually read the whole thing. The convo started based on the comment Portal is a failure. Portal can't be a failure if it's sold out. And since it's an accessory, Sony should be making profit in every unit sold. That's not true. That's not true. There has to be, okay. How do I put this? Okay. If they make the Portal, we don't know the cost, right? Again, not knowing what the cost of this machine is, okay, and then what the price point is, right? They could be losing money off of this. We don't know. Okay, we don't know the cost of this. Does anybody know the actual cost of this, or are we gonna pull shit out of our asses again? Okay, successful meaning that if we make the device and they make, let's say, 1,000 units, right, just for low vol, right? They're like, okay, we're making 1,000 units for our first run to see if it sells well. Okay, it sells out of 1,000 units. Great. They've lost money on every single one of those units. Now they recoup that money based on the people that buy the games and whatnot, and it's all included into that price. You don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows, okay, if they make money off of this unit. You could assume they make money off the unit, but you do not know if they make money off of this unit. Well, he's talking about the whole thing of Starfield. Like you said, the trees don't look real. There's no wind. There's a whole bunch of stuff. It's exactly like that. It's exactly like that. That's why I said should. They should means it doesn't have details basing it off the market norm. Yeah, but you said that they made money if they're successful because they sold off their stuff. But it just because they sold all their stuff doesn't mean they're profitable. They might have to sell 10,000, 100,000 units to then be profitable. What's a market attack all corporations do? Of course, Rose. And I agree with that. I agree with that. No, you can't play at the same time, Kylo. If you play on this, then you can't play on your PlayStation, right? Because it's using that. That happens right now. Like if I'm playing on Xbox and then all of a sudden my son picks up the phone and says, attach this device, it says, do you want to play here instead? And then it shifts you over. Yeah, because it's running off the exactly what Rose is saying. Right? It's running off of it. Can it be used as a second controller? Well, I don't know. I don't know if it could be used as. That's an expensive second controller, but I guess how much is like a scuff controller, like a pro controller? That's about $200, isn't it? Is that how much those controllers are? Now, obviously, I don't know if this has the same capabilities. Elite version 2 is 180. Now, if you put it in perspective like that, right? Log into the portal and have a second person play with a normal controller. Just keep the TV on. If you could just use that as a controller, now I can see that being sold as like instead of someone buying a pro controller, they can buy this and then have the portable unit on the on top of that. Then I can see that, Jones. Which is the main reason I didn't buy one for myself. You could do it with the been day one, was a kid was also on the console and he's also pick up a portal and play my game. Why compare a scuff compared to a regular PlayStation 5 controller? What I'm saying is if you're going to pick up a pro controller, because a lot of people that are in that market, Titan, sure, you could just pick up a regular controller for like $70, right? $60, $70, whatever it is for a PlayStation controller. But if you look at it and go, oh, you know what? If I'm going to buy a pro controller, I can do this and I can have a second controller and I can also do it on the move. I'm just trying to justify another reason why to buy this, right? Well, we can do it. We can get one of those. We can get one of those, Sarge. It's the same price as a Sony's Dual Edge Sense. There you go. Now that is interesting, right? If you're in the mood, if you're a Sony fan, you're in the mood, not a mood. If you're in the way of going, you know what? I was thinking about getting a new controller, but for an extra couple bucks from this controller to that, then I would get this. You know what I mean? I could see that. Can't even play the device out and about. Don't you have to be on the same? No, Kylo. We just literally went over this. We literally just went over this. You can play it on Wi-Fi anywhere. You're just accessing your PlayStation. No, I get you, Kylo. That's why I was like, Kylo, we just went over it. No, we literally just had this whole conversation because someone said that you couldn't play it over. I was like, no, you have to. And then I read the site. You can play it over Wi-Fi. You need 5 megabytes upload. If you're away, you need 15 or whatever. So if you were playing at a Starbucks, it might not be as a smooth experience or whatnot. But most of the games that you're playing, I mean, I wouldn't suggest playing a multiplayer game over the Wi-Fi. Okay. Like I played Starfield and a couple other games this weekend on my phone, and there was no problems. I'm playing single player, and if there is a hiccup or something, it's not devastating, right? But if you're playing like a multiplayer, I wouldn't suggest that. Yeah, it's still connected, right? I showed an example. Like anyone that has a cell phone right now, if you download the PlayStation app or you download the Xbox app, not the Game Pass app, just the Xbox app, you can literally click on the thing and it says, do you want to play on this device, remote play on this device? And you click yes. So if you had an iPad, Google Chrome, whatever, as long as you have a controller and a device, cell phone, mobile device, you can play right now your PlayStation. The same thing as this is doing. Or the same. Now, obviously, wanted to bring, let's say you had, this is just a standard PlayStation 4 controller, but let's say I had the high-end, controller for PlayStation or a shitty controller, whatever, right? You bring this and your mobile device, and you can do the exact same thing this is doing for $200. Made 1 jug worth of lemonade. Sold the Who jug worth, sold out. Right? Congratulations, Dupless. You sold out of your lemonade stand. Congratulations. You did your market research correctly. You sold out of the lemonade because you did your research. I think the future they will add cloud to this. The future, Rose. Do you think, Rose, that they would? Do you think they have a capability, right? Or do they make a PlayStation Portal 2, right? Do you think they take the PlayStation Portal? It's sort of like a Trojan horse kind of thing, where all of a sudden now you can play mobile games separate, or do you think they make a PlayStation Portal 2, where now it has a capability of not only playing your games remotely, but it also can play games? I feel half in, not more. Bought into the resale it anyway. I'm going to bring up the pass so Dupless doesn't freak out. But when Xbox tribal leaders get so much wrong, I feel it needs to be pointed out things and get sick of it. Top that with being sick. And this is an... yeah, but here's the thing, Krebsy. Why be part of that? Right? Why be a part of that? Why not set an example and just let it go? You know what I mean? I think Portal 2, assuming Portal is success. Right. So this would be like a test. Like how many people played it and how many people use it? Right? Like, look at some of you in chat, right? Instead of just letting a person just say it and go, you have like a chip on your shoulder, and this goes for both sides. And you have to keep bringing it up that someone said this from months ago or weeks ago or for whatever ago, right? It says a lot about some of you. The Vita we looked at the sales numbers earlier. It's when it first came out, it sold 300,000 units in Asia and 200,000 units in the United States. So 500,000 units when it first came out. I think the overall it sold 15 million units, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it says best-selling. Let's see. PlayStation Vita handheld Sony in 2011 sold 10 to 15 million estimate. They don't have the actual numbers, Jones. They don't tell you the exact numbers. Estimation is between 10 and 15. That's true, Dupless. Like, a lot of people don't. This is a tactic always, right? This is a tactic always. Someone brought it up earlier. I forget what it was. If it was Titan or Kylo. Said about concert tickets, right? They say concert tickets are sold out, right? When we go to movie theaters, and they say that, well, the theater's sold out, and then you walk into the theater, right? And you look in the theater, and you're like, look both ways, and you're like, there's a shit ton of empty seats. Do all those people bought tickets and they didn't show up? You know, there's always little ways that companies in marketing do this across the board. Okay. It sounds a lot better in marketing if you could say the words, we sold out, right? Got a concert going on, sold out concert, right? You want the sold out concert? Like, radio stations do this all the time, right? Sold out concerts, win tickets here, right? And how that gets you to that gets you to listen to the theater, listen to the channel, so you could call in and try to win, right? All of them are sold out. Win here, right? Theater sold out. Best here. Number one selling movie at this box office this weekend, and yet it still bombed at the box office, right? They do this all the time, all the time. Why do they have to test the market again? If Vita was successful, I would buy the shit out of it. The problem is, I don't think the Vita was successful. Hence why they don't ever tell you the full-fledged numbers, right? Let's take the example that Krebsy said, that they took pre-orders, right? And they were successful with the pre-orders they thought they were going to sell. All right, well, let's say they started that with the Vita, right? The Vita sold really well in the beginning, but then it kind of flatlined over the course of it. So they made too many of them later down the road because they thought, oh, okay, well, the percentage of this sold, and they sold out these fast, and we brought the next ones fast. But at the end of the day, they didn't sell very well. Hence why they stopped telling you what the number was, and it's an estimate, because they don't want you to actually know how unsuccessful something was. So right now, Krebsy could be 100% correct in being that this was very successful, that they sold out in the pre-orders and whatnot. But then the long run of it was successful. Well, if it was a pre-order to buy, right? So they don't make any units until they pre-order, and they tell you there's a 6-month wait period or something like that, and then they get them out to you. So it's sort of like limited run games. They don't make the games until people buy them. Then that would be successful, because they know their production value of what they're putting into those consoles or those the portals, compared to, let's make a mass of them and then we'll recoup our costs and we have to sell this many to break even. Who knows? A lot of people PS hate in here today, but as a Sony fan, I'm not going to argue because I don't care or play what I enjoy. Yeah, but when you say a lot of hate, how many people in this channel, of the 33 people, are talking about PlayStation hate? 2? 3? Right? How many? A lot of hate. What's a lot of hate? This is the problem with the generalistic of what we talk about. Tons of people on the internet are talking, but it's really not that many. Where's the tons of hate? How many people in the chat are really bashing it? The two? I think I can name them. I think Akuda Papa was saying something, and then Dupless. Was there anybody else that was like really getting on people's asses about it? And then vice versa on the other side. Was it Krebsy, which is kind of medium? He's not really one side or the other. He just hates people being on one side, right? And then there's Boss, right? Was there a lot of people? I got numbers for you, right? No, but Dupless, you lean more towards the Xbox. I know you have both, right? But that's what Stan. You're taking the stance of Xbox, and Krebsy's taking the stance of whatever. And I'm just saying, right? So I got numbers for you. Unlike Sony, I can give you numbers. There's only 4 of you in chat bantering back and forth about hate for one side or the other. Which is a huge percentage since it's the most ever in a viewership of 30 people. Ember says, I mean, it's me asking if I could play outside the house accounts as hate. I'm going to chalk you up as one of the haters, Enbu. That's it. You're a hater. Asking if you could play outside. Can I touch grass as I play with this thing? I don't think there's a lot of haters. I don't think there's a lot of hate. I think this is the reason that Microsoft doesn't make a mobile device. I think PlayStation, the reason they don't make a portable device, a standalone, is because the last time they did it in 2011 with the Vita, it didn't sell well overall for the mass market, right? Like, for instance, they had 122 million units for PlayStation 4, and they sold an estimated around 10 to 15 million of the portable aspect. Now, we don't know how many people that owned a PlayStation 4 also bought a PlayStation Vita, right? And how many people that didn't own anything and just bought the PlayStation Vita, okay? This is why I think these companies don't make a mobile device. I think this is why Nintendo didn't make a Game Boy and a Switch. They just made the Switch, which was mobile and also, that's groundbreaking, where you can play it in your house and you can take it with you on the go. And people look at Nintendo Switch as they're like, oh, well, 30 frames per second, it's not very good of a system compared to the other ones. But they literally just combined the two. They took the home system and made it portable at the same time, so they don't have to have a separate, device to sell. Hence why they're now the most successful console sold in the last generation, right? They passed PlayStation with 122. They're at 128 or 130. Yeah, what was the Vita? What did it cost, Jones? I never owned the Vita. The last portable one that I got was the PSP, which back then I was like, this is amazing. I'll be getting one at some point. I'm curious to see what PlayStation goes with. Like, if it starts out as an accessory and moves into more cloud gaming thing. Right, like a Trojan horse, 76, right? Like, if this comes out and the Portal all of a sudden starts to play the cloud gaming, that's huge. Now, that's a completely different thing, right? If I could use this device as cloud gaming, then that's a whole other market. You bought it used in a late cycle, maybe about 200. Was it like 300? I think it was like 300 brand new, wasn't it? I'll look it up. Price at launch, $299. Yeah. Wi-Fi version of PlayStation Vita cost $249, while the AT&T 3G version sold for $299 with data plan. That's a whole other thing, right? It requires a hotspot to connect to. Play outside. How many hotspots can support it? And you say it needed like 15 megabytes. Like some McDonald's and Starbucks have those speeds available. I mean, every place that I've tried, and I've been at hotels, I've been at my mom's, I have played at the doctor's office, I have played at certain other places. They've all had things, but again, I also don't try to play like the most graphically intense game at certain places. And I've never had a massive issue where I just can't play the game. Right? I even used my phone when I wasn't near Wi-Fi, when I was in Carline. I would play like Forza Horizon 5 on a hotspot. Right? So it would definitely vary. It would definitely vary. What time is it? 1 o'clock? All right. Right. The bigger problem is the amount of people using the internet. Right. All right. On today's show, something's in my eye. On today's show, we talked about Epic Games, about the email that Tim Sweeney put out, right, to his developers, and saying that he's the little guy, and the bad guys are Apple and Google, right? And Epic is going to be the metaverse, the one metaverse to rule them all. We talked about Grand Theft Auto 6, rumors about the picture, about the V and the 1 behind the picture, talking about how this month, potentially, Grand Theft Auto 6 could be announced and launched. Obviously not this year, but a trailer launch. Right? Then we also talked about Jim Ryan leaving PlayStation. Then it morphed into the PlayStation portal selling like hotcakes of their own accord, but no data. And we had a conversation. So I do appreciate everyone coming out, hanging out with us each and every single morning, Monday through Thursday, from 10 o'clock in the morning to about noon Eastern time. We're about 1 o'clock, so we went over. I thought it was a good conversation. Some of you guys like to do tribalism of stuff, and the people that don't like the tribalism also go on to the tribalism stuff. So you guys do you. I'm going to do me. If you guys like it, make sure you hit that like button down below. Hit the subscribe button if you're new. You don't know, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out here. And then if you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. I thank you very much for all the new members, the gifted memberships that came in today. Appreciate it. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, for some more Starfield. Gameplay tonight. I think we're done. We can do the actual, we're not done with anything. I think we're gonna go more faction based tonight. We're gonna go into the Freestar Collective and do that faction stuff. So appreciate it very much. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.